What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the KindaFunny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at KindaFunny. It's 2022. It's a new year, and it's a new episode of the KindaFunny Xcast. And I'm one of your hosts, Snowbike Mike, joined alongside my two gaming dads. Of course, there's some special guests, but I got to check in with my guys really quick. So let's go around. Mr. Gary Witta, welcome back. Happy New Year, my dude. How are you today?
I'm well. I'm still a little bit salty over the results of that Mario Party game we played earlier, but good. I had a relaxing holiday. I hope you did also. Ready to attack the new year with some gusto.
I am ready. I'm ready to bring the energy, ready to bring the gaming fun with you in Paris. And of course, my other gaming dad, my guy, PSILY. No mustache this year to start off the year. How are you, my guy?
I'm doing fantastic. Happy New Year to both yourself and Gary. And yeah, no mustache. New year, gotta go back to the old look.
It looks so good.
You look great.
I didn't know you even did you have a mustache at some point?
Yeah, I had it for all of November and December.
How did I miss that?
I swear we were never
you two
on an
didn't do a
episode
show together for like the
we
last
must
2
not have been on the
months.
show together. I feel sure I would have given you some shit over that one.
Yeah.
Well, you both are back together today, and that's a great way to kick off a brand new year. And you know, a better way to kick off a brand new year is to have our KindaFunny extended family here. That's right. We have even more KindaFunny Games members joining us on the podcast today. If you're an audio listener, guess what? You're going to hear some awesome voices. If you're a video watcher right now, you've already seen them. It's the cast of PSILY XOXO joining us for a very special kickoff episode of the new year. Greg Miller, I can already feel it. I know you're excited. Welcome in, Greg.
Hello and thank you. But now the Jabroni boys can take the bench. What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSILY XOXO, a KindaFunny Xcast special. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, aka the future class of gaming, aka the OK Beast, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Firstly, excuse my voice. I'm coming off a cold. Secondly, I did get to see Paris with a mustache when we went to Game Awards. And let me tell you, Paris looked great with a mustache. I absolutely adored it.
Let's find out what she thinks about it. She's the roller skating, marathon training, game playing Janet Garcia. Janet, did you like Paris's mustache?
You know, I don't think I actually caught it myself.
What?
Like I listened via audio, so yeah,
okay,
I think I missed that era. I'll have to go back and return next time I'm on here. I'll have my thoughts on Paris's mustache.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot to do your research like that. Paris, I saw a lot of this mustache, and while I missed classic Paris, I enjoyed a little new Paris, a little new school Paris. Is he evil? Is this alternate dimension Paris? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, this is totally Star Trek Spock with the goatee.
Mirror
100%.
universe.
Yeah.
You look great in it, but you look great no matter what you do. And that's what's so annoying about you. You know what I mean? I see photos from you from 10 years ago. You look great. I see photos of you now. You look great. So you just keep it up, all right?
Yeah,
Let's talk video games. Let's stop talking about me. And let's talk
Look
about the
how
fact
embarrassed he is.
let's talk about the fact that yes, Blessing and I actually finally met in person. It's crazy that it took this long.
And Paris was way taller than I expected. Like
You're
I
way
walked in the
shorter
room.
than I thought.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I walked in the room. I looked up and I was like, Paris, is that you? Oh my God. This man towering over me, looking like an Xbox Series X.
Mike, we thank you for welcoming us to the show. Of course, it's always nice to have PSILY XOXO, KindaFunny's #1 platform podcast, come and help out the little guys on the channel. You know what I mean?
Greg, I didn't know we were going to have a host off like this. You know, I came in, I thought I'd introduce you all. But if you're going to bring that kind of energy, I guess we're going to have to settle it. And I think we have a fun way we're going to settle that debate, you and I, here right after I tell you what's up with the Xcast. Because, of course, this is the KindaFunny Xcast. We post each and every Saturday at 6 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and, of course, on podcast services around the globe. And all of you PSILY XOXO listeners, you can come on over each and every Friday and join us on Patreon as we record this live, or you can check it out on the podcast services. And same goes for the Xcast crew. If you want to go check out some awesome PlayStation coverage with this gang down below me, you can go check them out. Of course, there's a new rating system over on Spotify, and we would love for you to go over to Spotify if you listen to the podcast there and drop us a 5-star review along with all of the KindaFunny podcasts. So please go support the KindaFunny team over on Spotify. Don't forget that we are now Epic Games partners, which means you can use our Epic Creator Code at checkout anytime you purchase a game off of the Epic Games Store, or if you're buying V-Bucks in Fortnite and just looking good, getting victory royales, you can use KindaFunny as the Epic Creator Code. It's no additional cost to you, and you can support the team in a brand new way. It's a new year. It's a new month. And it's time to say thank you to our incredible Patreon producers for the month of January. So let's give a big thank you to James Davis, Praise Portillo, Greg Miller's back and better than ever. He really is. Pranksky, Delaney Twinning, Tyler Ross, First Responder, ND, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, and Casey Andrews. Of course, this week, the Kinda Funny Xcast is brought to you by Upstart, Raycon, and ExpressVPN. But me and the team will tell you all about that later. Let's jump in to the first episode of 2022 for the Kinda Funny Xcast. It's a special crossover episode, and we're actually going to kick off a big battle, a year-long battle. And I'm going to kick it to my good friend, Greg Miller, to explain what the heck is going on today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, both watching and the attendees here from both podcasts. The idea is that we are going to do fantasycritic.games. If you don't know Fantasy Critic, it is a tradition in many podcasts around the video game industry, but kind of funny as well. That is basically you draft a fantasy football-like team of games. Consider yourself a games publisher, your 2Ks, your EAs, whatever you can wrap your head around to make it think. And then you draft or you get 12 games on a roster. Today, we're doing a draft where every video game available coming out in 2022 is available and can be drafted to your team. We're going to draft 6 of those games, each one by one of all of us. Then after that, it's open season. Every publisher has $100 to go through and make bids for other games to be added to their roster to round out the full 12. The idea being that as the year goes on, maybe we don't use up all 12 of your slots today in terms of bidding or whatever. You're going to go through, games are going to get announced, you're going to add them, games are going to get delayed, you're going to drop them, you're going to make moves. We're trading this year and doing a whole bunch of stuff. But the idea is that when it's all said and done, come December 2022, the games will have their Open Critic review scores on the side there, basically the Metacritic, but Open Critic. And every point you get above 70 for a game, or every score point that is above 70 on the game you picked, you get that point into your overall point total. Every point below 70 is then subtracted from your total. So it's possible to finish with a negative score. It's possible to finish, obviously, with a huge positive score. What we thought we would do is get both podcasts together, run through, do that today, draft this team so that, first off, we can each check in on it on our own leisure time. We can go through and have a good time and talk about it as updates. But also then you have skin in the game as games start coming and reviews start popping. So maybe if it's something that you weren't going to play, you're suddenly interested in it, let alone we get to decide which team, Mike, can draft the best, who's going to be the best possible podcast drafting thing. Because the idea here is we're all acting as individuals. We're drafting our own things. Whose Discord is popping off so much? We're all drafting our individual things. But then at the end, we will combine the points to decide which podcast won. There is a trophy. It's on its way from FedEx. It will not be here for the time for the podcast. But when we have the one MVP player, they get the trophy. They'll hopefully put on their podcast of choice here. Well, I shouldn't be. So Blessing will put it on, for the PS I Love You crowd. When he wins this, when Blessing is the MVP and has the best team, he will do it. But that's the nutshell approach to it. Blessing, what have I missed that's super important for people to know before we get into the draft?
No, I think you nailed everything. I think one thing to throw in there is one of the rules for the scoring. How for every point you get above 70, so if a game scores a 75, that is 5 points on that game, right? If a game scores a 65, that is negative 5 points, right? So 70 is kind of the baseline. If you get above 90, and this is kind of rare, so we don't necessarily have to factor this in as much, but it is good to know. If you get above a 90, so say a game scores a 92, every point above 90 is then 2 points. And so if it's a 92, that would then be 24 points on the scale. And so the higher you go, the better it's looking for you in the fantasy draft.
Yeah, so obviously you're trying to draft, the best games that you think will score the best things, so you can have it that way and have it there. As I'm looking over the league options again, like I said, 12 games, we draft 6, you pick up 6 on your own. Again, the bidding process works that every Saturday, it goes through, sees who's made bids on them. They're blind bids. You don't know if somebody's bid. So if Madden doesn't go today and you wanted Madden, you could go in there and bid $1. And if nobody bids more than that for Madden, you win Madden, you have it, and you can apply it to anything. And obviously you could go in and, you really want a game gets announced out of the blue in the coming weeks. You put $10 on it. You hope no one's bid more than that as you go on. You eventually can't drop some stuff, right? But if your game gets delayed out of it, you have 3 different games you can drop out of that. You can drop one game that will release from there. And there's a whole bunch of other rules that we don't need to get into the minutia of. Right now, banned games that you can't do are things that are in early access, things that are director's cut, so that fucks over every PlayStation game, ports, remasters, and then anything that's already been released internationally. So if something's out in Japan now, we already know it's great. You can't draft that even though it's not out in America. And I think that's the big thing. If you, ladies and gentlemen, or first off, if you're watching on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, feel free to follow along. You can watch us draft on the site right now. You can go to kindafunny.com/KFLeague. However, if you're listening later and you want to see and spoil what all we drafted, go and do that. But more importantly, you could bookmark it, see how it goes throughout the season, and start your own league. Of course, fantasycritic.games is completely free. It's just a cool site we all use and love. So if you want to do this with your friends, more power to you. Mike, back to you.
Greg, thank you both for running that down. Paris, he said Blessing was the MVP. We all know it will be you, and me and Gary will help support you to win this all. So, he might have been slipping that in there, but I want you to know.
Is
Well,
Paris my
team support,
competition?
what's
Bring
that
back.
like?
You know what I
No.
mean? You like that, Jen? It's like we have two people to support each other. We're a strong triangle.
Okay.
I've been
It's
looking
just
for
it's interesting
competition.
how much
by
more
himself.
sense that makes than
Let
like,
me-
we're
let me
together, but we're
clarify.
not together.
Let me clarify. We've done this for 2 years beforehand, and Blessing has won both times.
Thank you.
And
Not even like one. I have won by like a large margin. Let me put that out there. No offense to Greg Miller. No offense to Tim Geddes, who scored 70 points somehow last
Well, I was going
year.
to say, first off, full offense to Tim Geddes. So what happened is we did it on Games Class last year, and it was me, Blessing, Imran, and Tim. Tim, on draft day, picked pie in the sky, get hyped, Gatorade shit. And he's got games that only 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 of the games Tim picked actually came out, and he never went in to pick new games or make drops or anything. So it was like playing against nobody, right? Then Imran kind of tried, but he barely came back. And me and Blessing were the only ones going back and forth with it. And so, yes, Blessing did beat me because I was trying to do some Hail Marys at the very, very end to make something happen. But this
And
kid,
that's
he's
why
too
I was
damn
like,
good.
that is why I was like, yo, let's bring it to PSILY versus Xcast because I need some competition. I've seen Paris's tweets. I've seen what Mike has to say about video games. I know Gary's like he's part of the industry. I know you guys are actually knowledgeable about this shit, and so I'm coming here looking for competition. And also one thing I do want to shout out too is that like for us here playing, right, we have a pool of $100 each. You have to bid at least $1 on the games per week if you want to actually pick up a game. That's the thing that sometimes changes. But yeah, you have to bid at least $1. And then also for games that end up not coming out, say you've already gone through all your drops of the year and then you have games remaining on your list that aren't coming out, that will score you a solid baseline of 70 points. And so you do want to drop games that aren't coming out.
Which would be 0.
Which would be zero on your score, yeah. But like would count as like basically the same as a 70 on Metacritic is the thing.
And everything happens on Saturday. So you make bids whenever you want to, but Saturday they process, and it's the same with drops. Yeah, and Mike, your hand went up.
I have one question for me and the guys just to understand. Now, when we get into DLCs, we get into add-ons, where does that fall in the grand scheme of things? Because you brought up re-releases, you brought up director's cuts. Like, where do we fall on that?
Yeah, what about NFTs?
Yeah, and NFTs.
Get the fuck out of here.
DLCs do not count. It is full game releases.
Okay. No DLCs. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, it is. In terms of the games that don't count, right? DLCs, like Greg mentioned, right? Director's cuts, early access games that are coming out, ports, games that release internationally, and then remasters. What it does count are what they call partial remakes, and so those are things like Resident Evil 2 remake, like we got a few years ago. Remakes that are fully from the ground up remaking a game. That is kind of where the baseline is. Everything that and above pretty much counts.
Remakes are fine.
DLC don't count.
Remasters are the problem. Yeah, like you
Exactly.
couldn't have done like GTA 3 or whatever last year.
Or Mass Effect.
Yeah,
for
Legendary Edition. Yeah. Barrett Courtney on the 1s and 2s.
I feel very confident, Xcast team. Do you two have any questions for these three down below us as they know a little bit more about this than we do?
No, let's just dive
We'll
in.
pick
Let's
it up
do
as we go, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's draft. Let's have some fun then.
All right, Blessing, you want to
yeah.
start it off? Go for it.
I'm starting it off. And also, Greg, did you also mention how we're tallying score at the end between Xbox or
I did
Xcast
really
versus-
quickly, yeah. So one thing, yeah. So again, we're all acting as individuals to see who gets the trophy to represent on their podcast. But the way we'll determine which podcast won is by adding up all 3 scores from that person's podcast to go that way. And worth pointing out too, this is any games possible. So even though we're on PlayStation Xbox podcast, we can pick Xbox games. They can pick PlayStation games. I guess if we're fucking desperate, we can pick PC games. But you know what I mean? Like it's out there if you need to.
Okay.
All right, it looks like the draft has officially started. And it looks like I'm first.
Who would have thunk?
How convenient.
You know, it picks
Yeah.
the best first. It picks the best first, they say.
Oh man, I wasn't
So now
expecting to go first.
All right, hold on then. Sorry, let me hold on. Blessing, do you read me? Blessing, come in.
voice,
You
a
read
voice
me?
is coming out of my.
Oh, they're talking to the
Greg,
dual
what's good? What's up, Greg?
sense.
So what's the strategy here for your first pick here? What are you thinking?
Man, I mean, I right before this podcast, I did create a Google Doc that I titled "Fantasy Draft Strats." Strats, of course, short for strategies.
That's a good idea.
Oh, is that what it's short for?
Short for strategies. Short for
This is the
strategies.
cutting insight you get on PS I Love You XOXO,
Audio
Gary.
Learned so much already.
And Greg, what I've learned is that out there is a studio called From Software who don't miss, Greg and Janet. They put out bangers, and it seems like no matter what they put out, they're not scoring anything less than like an 87 and 86. They're going, and it seems like they're for their next game. They're going for it. This next game is called Elden Ring, and I think that's what I'm going to start off with because it seems like people are highly anticipating this game. That's giving me a first pick.
That's a great pick.
Elden Ring. That's what I'm going for.
Okay, that's a solid pick. I mean, Xcast for us to feel good about each other. Like,
Why do the PlayStation
From
people get the
Soft-
first pick, by the way?
yeah, I mean,
know,
come on,
it's
Gary, we
just-
didn't
it's
flip a
weird-
coin,
it's
Did
weird-
they flip a
rock, paper,
coin or
scissors.
something?
That's
Was
how
this
the
actually
tech
fair, or did they just decide?
You
Listen,
know,
we would love to be able to tell you that. We're not 100% sure. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I think it might be the way you signed up, which means you're next, Gary. So does that make you feel better if you get picked?
Oh, it was the order in which you signed up?
That appears to be the
it's
case.
random.
Yes.
that's what it seems
Okay,
like.
because I only signed up like last thing yesterday.
Then it might be
I
randomized.
assumed I would have been.
Oh,
Oh,
think
so it
last people.
randomized. Okay, so the standings, it randomized the standings, then that's what it's going off of. So that's why Blessing
Okay.
was first, Gary's 2. Gary, you're on the clock right now.
Okay, so
Bozo
we're only
Games.
concerned with review scores.
Yeah, for
Like,
Open
we're not
Critic. Yeah.
concerned about commercial success or anything like that.
No. This is there's a whole strategy here, right? Of
Now,
like,
am I allowed to confer with my teammates here? Or
oh
do I
yeah,
have to
this
do
is a
by myself?
podcast,
Okay.
brother.
Gary,
Talk
talk
it
it
out.
over with us.
All right, okay. So
See,
look,
that
they've
makes so
obviously
much more
come in.
sense.
Elden Ring, obviously, unless something goes horribly wrong, that game is going to continue the From Software tradition of probably getting really good review scores, even though it's only accessible to like 5% of players who have elite skills.
Let them know.
For do you want to get tribal here? Do you want to go with an Xbox exclusive and like pick Starfield or something like that, or should we?
That was going to be my suggestion.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. This is Todd Howard and those guys. This is their first new game in like 2
Yeah,
decades.
there's a lot riding on it, right? So they
Yeah.
kind of, but there was a lot riding on Fallout 76.
Oh, let's not say that.
See that, and I vibe with that, Paris. Right? Like I want to say Uncle Todd's got it in the bag, but like, is he second pick worthy? Right? Because
I mean,
I look
okay.
at Horizon Forbidden West.
Well, that's what I'm
Are
going to
we
say.
not
Here's the
thinking
thing.
about that one? What's up with that? You know,
If I'm coming at this from a platform agnostic standpoint, I feel like Horizon Forbidden West, which is rather than a game that we know almost nothing about, we know almost nothing about Starfield other than its pedigree.
Mm.
Forbidden
Actually-
West, the sequel to a game that was a banger, that feels to me like more of a safe bet, even though we're putting our chips on the other side of the fence here.
Wow.
I have a safer bet.
Oh,
Even
okay.
safer than Forbidden West?
Breath of the Wild 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
Just
although
everyone have
Nella's
a
got
rule.
some
See, I don't know
cockamamie
if that's
theory that
safer,
game's
though.
not going to be well
Barrett, let them make the
received.
choice, Barrett. Let them do it.
Aaron, shut up, Aaron.
Xcast is my show too, and I fucking adore it, and I've been there since day one. I don't know if Breath of the Wild 2 is as safe of a bet because it doesn't have a date yet, parents. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wait, you're on our show too, though. You can't play both sides.
But I was there at the
If a
beginning
game
of
is- if a
Xcast. I
game
showed
would
up in the
slip-
middle of
It's-
PS I Love You, you know?
Is this
I've been there
about the
since
PS
origin of
Vita?
Xcast.
Because
It's
you
about
know, we
Cyberpunk,
gotta move on.
We're sorry your Persona 4 save got corrupted on the
I think
Vita. Don't
actually-
take it
How
out
about
on
I
us.
won't
We all
help you until you
collectively-
apologize for the Vita, Miller.
I didn't actually think about that, but if a game were to slip into 2023, that's a bust, right? You get nothing.
That is
The game
correct.
never even
Correct.
came out.
You
Review
You can
scores
drop
aren't
it
even
for
there.
free, right?
You can drop it, yeah.
You can drop it, yeah.
For free.
You get only 3 drops of a game without a release date,
Okay, I see.
or a game that gets
Um,
pushed into 2023.
Mike, what are you thinking? I feel like Breath of the Wild, we know it's coming out next year. I feel very confident it's going to be a banger. Breath of the Wild 2 is less certain to come out this year, but again, Nintendo's not going to drop the ball on that. So what are you thinking? I feel like it's a coin flip between these two.
It's a big coin flip. I would go with those three too, like Starfield as well. You got to remember, we're going to kick it back to them. So do we give them the big first party Sony exclusive there with Horizon Forbidden West that's dated and slated, ready to go? Or do you take a chance on Uncle Todd, which I really like? I mean, you talk about Breath of the Wild 2, not a bad
It's
one.
interesting, right? Because we've got one game represented on each of the main platforms here. Each one's a platform exclusive. Starfield's Xbox exclusive, Forbidden West, PlayStation. and PC as well. And Nintendo with Breath of the Wild. So, but of the three, I've got to admit, even though I'm an Xbox guy, Starfield to me is the biggest risk, just because it's the one we know the least about. You're putting with Starfield, you're not putting all your chips on the game, you're putting your chips on Bethesda, right?
And I love Uncle Todd. I'm a big fan of Uncle Todd. It's up to you,
But they're
Gary.
not,
I mean, you got to
they're not
remember.
infallible. Fallout 76 was a mess at launch. What was it? Wolfenstein Youngblood, that was a mess. They're not completely infallible. And even though there's a lot riding on this one, you think, yeah, surely they're not going to get this one wrong. I just haven't seen enough of the game to make there's no the other two are sequels to Stone
Right.
Cold.
They're building off of.
So those are safer bets.
Yeah.
So
You
I
have
don't know.
to
I feel like
remember
for
you
our
have
first
me.
pick,
You know what?
we should pick something safe.
You know what? Screw these PlayStation guys. Take their game. Do Horizon. How about that?
Should we
Remember,
do it?
you have me.
We'll say
Yeah, you have
Horizon?
me in Paris.
No,
to
you guys really
fall
don't believe in
back onto.
Todd. That's wild.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's
They're
fucked
taking
up.
so
You
much
think-
time with
You
this
think
game.
Greg Miller's going to
They've
pick Todd Howard right now?
they've
You
been-
know he's
That's
not.
deflection. That's
Yeah.
deflection, Gary. Pick
That's
Horizon.
fucked up. The biggest Xbox game
I don't know.
released this
Is it
year.
is it a bad look for us? Or the
No.
Xcast, their
You guys are saying
first
no,
draft
though.
pick for the highest rated game of the year was a PlayStation
Think
title.
about this, right? Horizon Forbidden West is like the second biggest PlayStation release this year, right? God of War Ragnarok is slated for this year, and you're telling me that you're
Okay,
skipping
that
up
doesn't have a date
Starfield.
either. That doesn't have a date
You're
either.
skipping out Starfield for the second best PlayStation game this year. That's wild.
It's
That's
deflection.
Wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
This is mind games that we're getting from Blessing
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
He's
what
very
are
good
you-
at the psyops.
Take his most beloved game from him right now, so we have a solid racehorse here.
I'm final answer. I'm locking it in. Forbidden West.
Good, great pick. That's a solid pick, Gary. I think you have to type something in. I don't know.
Oh, I do?
haven't
Do I have to
done
go
Oh
to
yeah,
a
you
website?
on the website. You have to be logged in and pick
Oh,
it.
I don't have that in front of me right now. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I can do it for you real quick.
KindaFunny.com/KF.
Can you do it for us, or
Hold on.
Blessing?
I
That would
can
be
do it for
pretty
Gary.
epic If you could
Oh.
do
You can do it
us.
for me?
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay, great.
have your finger slip and get
Because
started.
I'm usually at the other computer when I do that stuff. Sorry. Okay, yeah, Forbidden West. We're locking it in.
Great
It's
pick.
been done.
Great pick.
All right, I'm on the clock here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where we get sticky. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I was really hoping they would just make it easy and give us Horizon. Because yes,
Same.
that game's coming out February 18th. It's going to be great. Nobody's questioning it. Now we're into, what do you want to do? Because we are in that. Bless, you know it so well, Janet. You know how games get delayed all the time. So, like, do we believe enough in Ragnarok that it's actually going to hit? I do not, for a second, believe in Breath of the Wild 2. Like, that's just, I don't even think worried about. Yeah, right.
Don't pick either one of those.
Yeah, but so then it's like we start getting into, what do you want to use this pick on, Bless? What do you want to use this pick on, Janet? Right. This is me on the clock, but we're working as a team. And I'm sorry, I should be talking in so they can't hear me. I'm talking to my DualSense now, so they
there
can't
it
hear me. Don't worry about it.
I can hear you.
Okay. Good.
It's tough, Greg.
Yeah.
What comes to mind for me first is Gran Turismo 7.
But Gran Turismo 7, man, and
Wait,
I'm
are you
not a car
serious?
guy. Me?
No,
No, I'm
Gran
serious.
Turismo, like that's nah. I mean, I think it's going to review well. Like I think it's a pretty safe, at least 10 points. But I think leaving God of War on the table would be a mistake.
I think
Especially
you
if
should
we're
absolutely pick Gran Turismo 7.
Especially if we're thinking of this as a communal thing and we're not as worried about like, the nitty gritty of like who actually ends up being like the official number one person.
Oh, sure,
it just
yeah,
makes
no.
sense to get God of War on there because there's a decent chance that it'll come out. I think also when you think of the best games of this year, like the top ones would be Horizon, Elden Ring, God of War, and Breath of the Wild 2 we all know might just not come out. So
Hey, I'm
that's
sorry.
the rest.
I'm expanding the party chat to let Mike in. Hey, Mike, what do you got to say?
Hey, Janet is so right there. You know what? You should actually go back. Think of how well Forza did. Gran Turismo. That would be a great choice right now.
Well,
Maybe you
that
should
is
pick
what I'm saying though.
Turismo.
Is that like I know Forza is Forza and people
Well,
love
yeah,
Forza
but
Horizon.
that's the fun Forza, not the boring Forza, which Gran Turismo is the equivalent of.
But you gotta think about who's reviewing these games. The people who are reviewing the boring Forzas or the Gran Turismos, those are the people that are the fans of those games. And I think those are the people that are more likely to give that game a good review.
But I mean, they're the hardest sound. Look at GT Sport on Metacritic is a 75. Like Gran Turismo used to be a powerhouse, right? 1998, it was a 96 on Metacritic. 2013, it was an 81. It's like they actually are going. The more games that come out, their score goes down.
But
And so
I do
for
think this will be like an upswing year for them, but not enough to have it. To me, the first picks need to be like fire
Locks.
picks.
Yeah, I
Like,
hear you. I
even
agree.
if it's maybe going to get delayed, like it doesn't make sense. I think Gran Turismo is a great pickup for a little bit later in the draft because I do think I feel like it'll score like 80 or has that
But
potential.
I think
Is it a first round pick though?
it's the thing of like
absolutely not.
one in the hand is worth two in the bush here, where I think having an 80 in Gran Turismo is better than having a 70 in a delayed God of War Ragnarok.
I think though, if you want to get that 80, you could probably get that 80 more easily from something else. I feel like.
That's fair.
And that's because I have a whole bunch of things to toss out because I think, we get caught up in looking for the big blockbusters here, right? But there's a ton of other stuff. But then it's the push and pull of if, first off, we talk in front of them right now, they know it. But then also the fact that this is maybe something I could get for $1 later on when nobody's looking kind of thing, right? But I would throw out like things I would be looking for. And I know these are a bit crazy, but stick with me. Sifu. Right? Nothing but positive things about Sifu.
Nah.
Little strategy for Switch, like Octopath was awesome. That's going to be awesome. We could play their game, even though it's, again, is it coming out this year? Get Hellblade 2, Gotham Knights. Like there's
Hellblade 2 ain't coming out this year. But I do like where you're going. And what I want to throw out to you, because you're the person who has previewed this game, Nobody Saves the World. We know that's coming out this month. So that's a lot.
I did really like it, but I'm not confident enough based on my preview to say that's going to get a 90. You know what I mean? Like that's going to get more. This is what got me last year is I picked a bunch of great games I had played before, but it turned out over time they just went down. They weren't like, I was the king of the 7s. I had 7s and 8s last year in the Gamescast League. And I'm trying not to do that this time around for the start point. We've talked in circles.
I'm confident in Sifu based on my preview. I'll throw that out there too.
I feel good about that game as well based on my preview as well, but I still just think the first round should be hotter than that. That's
I'll punch Ragnarok. We can punch that ticket just to have it in the back. And if we have to, we lose it gets delayed, which it probably will. No big deal. We could
different
also
games, but Absolver from Slow Clap on Open Critic is sitting at like a 73. Now I do think Sifu is really good. Like I think Sifu, I didn't play Absolver, but I feel like Sifu will come in around that 8 mark, but just throwing it out there.
Not to mention Starfield is on the table too. And I don't get me wrong. Everything everybody's saying is they hemmed and hawed about it. Both positive and negative is true, but they're confident enough to put a date on it. They've been working on Starfield forever, and they also know that they can't fuck that up.
There's Pokemon Legends Arceus, but I feel like this is the era that people are going to really drag Pokemon. I think it'll at least be in like the 7s or 8s.
Let's just
looking for like something coming out that is going to be holistically positive. Like I don't see that getting like,
oh man. I don't know about Arceus. I think that's a dangerous
thing. I? But
yeah.
I mean, Sun and Moon got like an 80. Not amazing, but
we gotta pull the trigger here. I would think it's either God of War or Starfield.
I feel like you gotta go God of War. I know Starfield does have a release date, but we don't know what that game is, so it's like, and it's also the release date's really late, isn't it? A November release date. That's a great day to delay your game. Like that's a great delay time.
I feel almost more confident in God of War than Starfield in terms of release date.
Now, Blessing, you just said something interesting that I did see on the list too. Mm-hmm. That I guess would you want to go that way too? Because that's another one we could sting it to these Xbox fucks.
I mean, I don't know if we had to go first round. I think we can save that for like a second or third because I don't know if they know that.
Then let's punch God of War. Just be safe. If it happens, that's guaranteed 20 points right there, right? Sony Santa Monica, don't miss. And if not, we have to pick up some indie that Blessing likes and Barrett would give a really high score to. I'm locking it in going Ragnarok.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Boys, that was a solid pick from him. One that is undated, so we're pretty happy about that one. We'll take that. But of course, that now punts it to us where we look at Starfield being the next banger, right? We believe in Uncle Todd. And the biggest one is, yes, the release date is late in the year, but you know what the positive is? You don't miss when it comes to 11/11. And 11/11/22 is a chef's kiss of a release date, just like Skyrim was. But my worry, Paris and Gary, is when Skyrim first came out, how well was that really received, right? If we remember that, it wasn't the biggest and the baddest. Of course, this has been a decade now. You have to assume with that engine plus, you think it would be something a little bit better. I don't know how much I want to get into my next couple of picks, right, and share that with all of them. But Paris, tell me what you're thinking.
I'm going to say Starfield, and basically you and I are going back to back. So,
good.
Starfield can happen either way. Starfield should be one of the first picks, and I'm gonna look at what Microsoft has done here in the last year with Halo Infinite. The fact that look how polished that game was when it came out as far as campaign and all that goes. We know Bethesda has that history of issues with QA and buggy stuff and all that. I think Starfield probably, they'll never admit it. I think they gave that game more time for that very reason, so that it can be as polished as it can be when it does come out. And the fact that they were able to put a date out 18 months ahead of time to say we're going to hit that date, I have confidence it's not going to be buggy. And I think they're putting all their eggs in a basket with Starfield. That's going to be their crown jewel game for 2022.
Mike, real quick to call it out as an old man, I just want to remind you brought up, Skyrim and how buggy it was at launch and how that reviewed. It reviewed incredibly well, even on the PS3. Remember, it took us weeks to figure out that if in the PS3 it never it saved the fact that you left doors open, which meant the game didn't run after a while. So like nobody knew that at launch. That did really well.
Yes,
I gotta say, I'm still
a
little bit nervous about the Starfield thing for two reasons. First of all, let's just assume, it's coming out next year, or coming out this year, I should say. To me, it's still too much of a known quantity. We have not seen one single frame of gameplay, so this is all based purely on the developer. Now, again, and I will say this, even with the missteps that Bethesda has made in the recent past, I'm still very much in Bethesda We Trust club. I think it's going to be more likely than not. It's going to be it's going to be great. But there are many other games. Again, it's still very early in the draft. There are many other games we can look to that I think are probably safer bets. And then the whole coming out this year thing, COVID isn't going anywhere soon.
No,
it's going to continue to wreak havoc with development cycles. We're also used to seeing games getting pushed. Microsoft just did the unthinkable a year ago and pushed Halo back from the launch of the Series X, and we all know how much they didn't want to do that, but they felt that they had to. Ended up being the right choice, but for the purposes of this, we can't allow games to slip, right? Yeah. So for me, I think it's still a very solid choice. There's just more risk attached to it than I think some other games we could be talking about.
What you're saying, Gary, I would apply that logic to literally every game that's coming out this year.
But the later that a game is dated, like a game that's dated right now for February, is less of a risk than a game that's dated in November.
Yeah.
Well, let's lock it in because we do believe in Uncle Todd. We believe in Bethesda. And so I will pick one of the larger games off the board right now. We have to do it as a team. And so let's select Starfield for me, please. Blessing.
I got you.
Thank you.
We need some kind of locked in sound effect.
It's locked in.
Locked in.
Yeah.
Locked in.
He said Starfield.
Paris has got it.
Yeah, he said Starfield.
I said Starfield. Thank you, please, and thank you. Paris, I love that we're going back to back here, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on what you see coming up.
So I'm going to go back to something I said before about Breath of the Wild. Do we think that's too big of a risk as far as making it this year? Obviously, no announced date. You know it's going to be a 90+ game when it comes out. It really just comes down to, is it coming out this year?
That's a tough one. I mean, that's truly a tough one. From everything we've seen from Nintendo, we haven't talked much about that. We get brief teasers and then walk away from it.
Because then I think... Go ahead.
I'll say, here's the thing about Breath of the Wild, right? And I know I'm not on your guys' team, but I do like the conversation around it. Is that Breath of the Wild 1 is sitting at a 97 on Metacritic. That is incredible, and that basically makes Breath of the Wild 2 probably the what's it called in Harry Potter, the Golden Snitch, when they're playing.
Isn't it the highest rated game on Metacritic?
It's probably up there, right? Like I imagine it's in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be up there.
If Breath of the Wild 2, if you get it and it hits this year, that is like an automatic win.
Yeah, it's a banker. All of the risk on Breath of the Wild 2 is attached to, is it coming out? Not is it going to be good? Because I feel like we would all bet the farm on that. Mm-hmm. Is it coming out? And Nintendo is not traditionally a company that is that bothered about whether or not a game slips. Like even if it slips next year, they'll just sell another 10 million copies of Mario Kart 8 instead. Like they don't care. They don't need to like rush a game out to hit a release date. They'll release it whenever they feel like, and it doesn't have a date. I don't know. It's a tough one.
I'm just thinking first pick game. It's like I want to do it. I want to take the risk, unless you guys got ideas for something else that you think should be first pick worthy. Like I have some other games.
How long ago was it announced?
The last E3 that existed in real life, which was 2019.
2019. Yeah.
So
it still does not have a title yet.
It's been 2017 since Breath of the Wild.
Did Nintendo?
But it's made in the same engine.
I know there's no specific date on it, but have Nintendo ever even said 2022?
Yes.
Okay,
the last time they showed it. The last time they showed it, which is the first time they showed gameplay. They have not given a title to it yet, though. Historically, people often make the comparison between Ocarina and Majora's Mask, I might have those inverted. And that kind of gap, and it being a similar gap, which is to say it could totally come out this year or definitely not. It could really go either way.
It's an interesting one because, again, the only risk is it coming out. That's the only thing that's worth talking about.
It's a great first pick, though, is right, Paris. I mean, the conversation, like we talk about, the biggest names on the board, that is the biggest and the baddest right here.
I think if you took the release date out of the equation and we knew all these games were locked in for 2022, then Breath of the Wild would probably be everyone's number one pick. Breath of the Wild 2, that is. It's the most certain, nothing's 100%, but it's the most certain game to just deliver crackerjack review scores across the board. Like, how can it not hit? You know, it's not like they're going off and doing another wacky reinterpretation of Zelda and who knows what it's going to be this time. It's Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
Right? It's a very safe bet in terms of the next Zelda game.
Let's take the risk.
I'm kind of inclined to. I'm inclined to take it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to
Do
take
it, Paris. I like that. We stand behind you on that one.
All right.
There.
Janet, just so you know, the Xcast crew stands behind you as well. So whatever you pick, you can come over to our side as well. Just know that, Janet. We're here for you.
Janet, just so you know, it's a snake order, which means that since you're last up, you get 2 picks.
Yeah.
Double pick.
And also, I'm kind of sad that they got Breath of the Wild because after that conversation, I'm like, damn,
Oh,
maybe
I totally was
going to
pick Breath of the Wild. Well, no, I don't think that's true. I think it makes more sense. I think what happened totally makes sense for what. Well, we're at the end of the first round. I'll save my first round thoughts for when we're actually done because I still have to go. Okay, so it's my turn. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Okay, cool. What should I get? My top ones are already taken off. Like I have them ordered, and all of them are gone. My next up, it gets kind of like up in the air. Honestly, things that are crossing my mind. I already mentioned Pokemon. That is a little dicey because, Sifu, I think is a strong one for sure. Even though it is a little bit of a mid-tier kind of pick. I feel like first round, it doesn't really have that cachet. I guess my question is there a first round style pick left available?
Well, the thing about it is like, don't get worried about it not being a first round AAA kind of. It doesn't need to be a prestige thing. We're just worried about review scores and trying to beat them to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you have Slack, Janet? Like,
yes.
in front of you, open it up because me and Bless have been going back here privately on a couple of these things that we
boys. Just so you know, on the KindaFunny Xcast doc, I have some picks as well. You can always
okay.
I can open that up then and check that out too.
I think I'll throw out too
Man,
is
get
like
your hands out of there.
talking about these first round picks, right? A thing I found while doing fantasy draft is that oftentimes you'll find that indie games and games that get reviewed less tend to score higher because there's not as many voices giving input. Yep. Where like I made the mistake of like doing Call of Duty, and turns out Call of Duty scores for Metacritic tend to like get weighted down a little bit more because everybody's reviewing Call of Duty, and therefore there's more negative voices talking about Call of Duty. Whereas if you're talking about something that's like prestige, that's a little bit tinier, something like Death's Door, or something that is a bit more like indie, people love this kind of thing, you'll get higher scores.
Yeah, I'm leaning on Sifu, but I'm not sure if y'all have a different opinion.
I like Sifu. But I haven't played it. You guys have actually done the preview of it. I only have seen it, and I think it looks dope.
Sifu, I need to look up. Like Sifu seems like it's going to do similar to something like a Katana Zero or like a Hotline Miami.
I was thinking. Okay, so
Hotline Miami maybe is a bit more because like I feel like that was like the beginning of that kind of era of indie game. But I'll look up to see like what something like Katana Zero did.
If you hear me typing, no, you don't. Katana Zero 84, which is pretty good.
That's really good.
I was also thinking of like it could do like a Kina because I think Kina's like the people that played it loved it and give it hype, but it's just not quite at the top of everyone's mind, and that sits at an 80. So I feel pretty confident that Sifu will come in around like an easy 10 points. I feel like, but
you at the very least get 10 points on Sifu. I think.
All right, I feel
like we believe in Sifu. Go ahead and toss that out there. Yeah,
I'm gonna do that, especially because I get to go next again anyway.
Yeah.
So.
That's where it gets even more interesting.
How do I?
If you're on the front page underneath player actions, it says draft.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I got it. Okay. All right. Search game, and I am gonna select it. Also, at least.
And as Janet selects Sifu to end the first round, we're gonna throw it to a quick ads and come back with another pick from Janet right now.
What would it feel like if we were finally free of high interest loans or credit card debt? Well, Upstart can help you make that final payment so you can get ahead. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. Whether you're looking to pay off credit cards, consolidate high-interest debt, or fund some personal expenses, Upstart can help you get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Rather than looking only at your credit score, Upstart considers other factors like your income, current employment, and credit history to find you a smarter rate. One of my really good friends did exactly this, and it helped him out so much. Just consolidating all of his debt into one place allowed him to focus and just take care of it. And now he's debt-free thanks to Upstart. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today. And when you go to upstart.com/kindafunny, that's upstart.com/kindafunny. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Upstart.com/kindafunny. There's so much going on right now, whether it's stuff you're excited about, like traveling, or stuff you'd rather avoid, like traffic. You can't always control the vibes out there, but you can control the vibes in your own head when you've got a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears. With Raycon's new everyday earbuds, they look, feel, and sound better than ever. One of my best friends, James Burke, he loves these things. He's always out there when he's running, when he's playing his baseball. He's a baseball coach, so he does a lot of those two things. And Raycon's new everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. They've got an improved rubber oil look and feel and optimized gel tips for a perfect in-ear fit. Plus, you get 3 new sound profiles, so the sound is great no matter what you're listening to, whether it's a podcast like this one, or some hip-hop, or some rock, or anything in between. Right now, Kinda Funny listeners, you can get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/kindafunny. That's BUYRAYCON.com/kindafunny to save 15% on Raycons. Buyraycon.com/kindafunny. Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like leaving your keys in your car while you run into the gas station. You're probably fine, but it could be a disaster. Every time you connect to an unencrypted network, you're basically giving someone else the keys to your personal data, like your passwords, your financial details, the passwords to your financial life. And it doesn't even take much technical knowledge for someone to hack you. But ExpressVPN creates a secure, encrypted tunnel between your data and the world that'd take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past. Plus, it's super easy to use. You just open the app and press a single button. I've been using it. Kinda Funny's been using it. It's keeping our internet safe. And I love that. I love it so much. I love how easy it is to use, and I love that I just don't even need to worry about it. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/kindafunny. That's expressvpn.com/kindafunny. And you can get an extra 3 months for free by going to expressvpn.com/kindafunny.
Welcome back, everybody. Janet, you're back again.
Okay, so yeah, first round went as expected. I feel like all the bangers got picked, and then Sifu sort of, I think, a strong pick, and it's coming out pretty soon, so we have like that going for us.
Sure.
What would be next on the top of people's minds? Should we go for like more stuff that we think is safe, or do we want to like roll the dice a little bit?
Well, it's funny you speak of dice. Blessing, am I crazy here? Am I crazy here?
Here's the thing. If you're gonna say the words, Janet would need to commit.
Look
to
at Slack and look at my first bullet point there. I would think that's what we should do. And if that's cool, that's what we should do, because that is a guaranteed one, but it's also flying under the radar, I would think, to a certain degree here.
Okay, just to make sure I'm looking at the right one here. That's what, it's funny because I was going to ask about that as an example when we were going over the rules, because
it's definitely one of those, as you watching or listening might not know. On our end, when you go into the back end, you can make a watch list. You can see what's eligible, what's ineligible, and so like we've seen a game pop up that is being included in a different way than we thought. It is, and I would think that.
So maybe I misspoke when you guys asked about DLC, because it is tagged as an expansion pack in the thing, and it turns out expansion packs are eligible according to the league rules.
Well, you can just say the words then. We're talking about Cuphead DLC.
We're talking about Cuphead.
Come on, I love you, XOXO. Get a little out there, okay? You're on the Xcast here. We can have
Excuse us, Mike, don't be listening into our DualSense conversations, all right? Kick him out of the party chat. It only takes 15 steps.
Does it have a hard release date? The Cuphead DLC?
Yeah. June 30th.
That's happening for sure.
I think it's safe in release date, I would say, because they're not. I don't think they're delaying that unless something.
It's time for that. Cuphead. Not only how much people love Cuphead, but how meticulous Studio MDHR is. Yep. That's another guarantee.
They've been working on this game since like 2017. I think the original came out in 2017. They've been working on it since then.
And
This has to be
like
better.
they stopped talking about it for a very long
Go for it,
time
Jan.
after talking about it for a bit.
I think
too.
I'll just go with that. I did toss another one to y'all as well privately that I think people will forget about. That would be a good
Interesting.
pick. But
Interesting.
So
yeah.
hold on, we went from Blessing saying DLC's not eligible to, oh wait, now it is, and by the way, we're picking the #1 DLC of the year.
yeah, welcome to PS I Love You XO.
Listen,
So
I
you
didn't
just gotta
make
go
the
with
rules.
it.
Yeah,
You gotta go with
Janet
it.
will tell you. Welcome to
This
PS.
kind of
Blessing,
happens all
Blessing
the
didn't
time.
make the.
If you like get hung up on the, where's Days Gone, right? Like what happened to it? Just move, take the L, move on. Like you can't hold on to these things when you're working with Blessing. 'Cause
Were
it's
you going to
just gonna
pick
eat
it,
you alive.
Gary? Would you have picked it in one of these things? No. And also, if you were using the website like we told you to, you would see this that it was eligible. We're sorry you don't want to do your work, Paris. I'm sorry you have to work.
I
for
just
this
go by what you say to my face. If that can't be trusted, that's
stabbed you
Right,
in
I'm
the
going
face
with it.
several times. Give up.
I'm going with it.
Okay,
That's
good,
a great
good.
pick, Jana. That's a strong pick right there. That's a great pick. Good first 2 rounds right there. Now our guy, Mr. Paris, up next.
Okay, so I got one because I'm just trying to win, and it's
That's
about
what
the
we want to
score.
Yeah.
So this might seem like a surprise as a second pick, but I'm very confident this is going to score really high when it comes out. Weird West.
Oh, okay. That's a
RPG, Devolver Digital. This game's been on my radar for a few years now. I've been following it. It looks strong. They delayed it from January because they need a little more time, but it looks solid. Everything I've seen preview wise, I think this is going to score really high. So I think I'm going to go with that unless you guys have another suggestion for the second pick.
no. I like that, Paris. I like that a lot.
And I have another ace in the hole in the back pocket. I'll bring it
Nice.
up.
I like that. Well, Paris with a strong pick right there with Weird West. I'm going to go with another strong pick. And Greg Miller, I'm going out. I'm getting out of my comfort zone here in 2022, and I'm about to get weird, and I'm about to get mega nerdy because this is a game that the people have been talking to me through my DualSense about. Total War Warhammer 3. The
I knew you were gonna say
RTS
that.
will rise. And so, for all my Total War fans out there, and mainly all my Warhammer people, I'm here with you. Let's score high right now. So that's going to be my second round pick.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, is it on me?
No, it's back to me now.
Oh, okay.
Bless, are you locking in Mike's, or is Mike doing it?
I'm
are you doing
blessed.
it?
Please do
Oh,
all
I got
of
you, I
mine,
got you.
please and thank you. Yes.
So then the nation turns its lonely eyes to me. Janet, I see your thing. I think we could maybe even pick that up in waivers. You know what I mean? Or like, not in the draft, like bid $1 and get it. And so then it's like the other 2 bullet points here are not announced for this year, but we could stake our flag in it. You know what I mean? Claim our land early on that. But it's a big risk. Janet, I see you taking the deep intake of air there. What do you think of this? Oh, you're muted. Janet, you're
We can't
muted.
hear you, Janet. Can she hear us? Oh,
Sorry, yeah. No, I had muted myself to try to avoid you hearing me click and clack. I think because of the 3 that you have thrown out there, the second one is so, I feel like, not likely that maybe the third would be a better pick. Like, I think the third would be more realistic for what is actually gonna be
Greg, here's
around.
what I'll say.
Yeah.
I want that second one. I want that second one to myself. So if you want to get that third one, because if I'm probably gonna skip out on that third one because I don't know how much I believe in that one. I kind of believe in the second one.
You're a crazy person. Okay.
You're like sure on that third bullet
Oh, wait.
point?
Do you mean the date or the quality?
The date?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
Okay.
no, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
the thing.
neither
Is
of
like,
these.
It's
I mean,
more sure
there's
than the
rumors about
second
both of
one.
them.
there's rumors about both of them. The second one, I like the third one can go either way, but like in terms of review score, I'm feeling that second one.
Right.
But there's also another game that I have in my head that I want to get personally. And so and because I'm gonna go back to back twice since I'm the last in the snake,
Yeah.
I want to get that second one in another game. And so if you want to go for that third bullet point, that's
But
all you.
am I dreaming? Am I too close to the sun on that? Even based on rumors.
Well,
we've
do you
heard
already?
recently?
One thing that I will
I
say
don't think you're dreaming.
is you do already have like that dice roll with like God of War, or whether that's
The
actually.
other
you're
one,
on
they're rolling
the-
the Hey, come the next
But it
Tim,
does have
Greg.
it does have
No,
the year
no, no,
attached to it.
on a
for sure.
counterpoint,
Be a
though.
laughing stock. Be a laughing
On a
stock. I won't be
counterpoint,
coming.
Greg, remember when this last game got announced in the series, right? They announced
Yeah.
it and then it came out like 5 months later?
Yeah, right.
They don't
Was it
announce
not like? I
until
thought it was like a year and a half later.
well,
depends on what
when
you
they
define as
when they
announcement.
showed
Our first look at it.
yeah
Okay.
when they showed the game, it was like later that year.
You can probably say the name of it.
I don't
Well,
want to say it
then
just
if
in
we
case
don't
he
take it
doesn't-
here, if we
yeah,
don't take it here,
exactly.
then they
Let's
have.
talk
Like,
about
is Gary gonna take
conversation.
it?
Yeah, come on, share with
Gary's
us.
not gonna take this
Let's
game.
talk about it.
No.
I mean,
Once he knows
I
something.
want to believe that I could pick right now Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. And Jeff Grubb delivers as Jeff Grubb has promised that they talk about it in May before whatever E3 summer is, and that is the problem is that them talking about it and saying like, hey, here's a teaser trailer, or is that them saying here's the gameplay and it's coming out this fall? That's the line I ride right now.
Well,
That's
EA better hope it comes out this year because they need something.
That's the thing is that what does EA have this fall? You know, I think it's a pretty free fall in terms of games that could appear. And what was the last Star Wars game we got? Right? Was it Star Wars Squadrons? Was that the last big console Star Wars game?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while, right? I think it's about time we get another Star Wars game.
Yeah, and they probably don't do it until May the 4th. It probably is when they would announce it.
Tom, yeah.
Yeah, there was when we were talking about this on Games Daily based on the Jeff Grubb rumor. Tim went up, looked with the Disney, whatever the Disney conference is or whatever, and that's towards the end of May. So he's thinking even May 4th or May there somewhere.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
in. Again, my concern is, we've announced it and it's coming out in 2023. Like that's the big the problem there, or it gets delayed. The other one I would put out right now is Triangle Strategy. New game from
That's why
Octopath.
Does it have a
We're
hard
safe.
date to it?
It does have a hard date. Yeah, March 4th.
Well, what'd the last one do?
83 on meta, but this one's I think going to have more juice behind it because of the success of that one. It's tactics, which people love, and the demo did real well when they put out the demo for it. It's another one. How much do you want to take like something that's proven and like we know I believe is going to happen versus something that's not going to happen? I'm going to take Triangle Strategy. That's what I want to do.
Go for
Also,
it.
it is through Open Critic, though, right? Like, not Meta. Like, are they related? Are the two related?
No,
Metacritic?
they're
No, I
different,
just-
but like they tend to land around the same place because they're pulling from the same sources.
All right, I'm going to do Triangle Strategy. Gary Whitta.
I got a
The
couple
ball.
of wild card ideas.
Wild card.
We were talking earlier about putting all your chips on the developer.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. Because surely all I need to say is Rocksteady and superheroes, right? And we're good, aren't we? Doesn't that feel pretty safe? They're not going to mess that game up, don't you think?
I think it's definitely scoring above a 70, Gary. So you're going to have positive points no matter what, right?
But
There's no way they're
I've-
putting out less than a 70 here.
I've zigged, and now I'm going to zag.
Oh, you're zagging on me. Okay,
'Cause
zagging on me.
I'm throwing two games out there, and and you guys are going to help me pick which one we put forward and lock in.
Let's
The
talk
other
about
one, this is weird, but I've got a good feeling about it, is the new Kirby. Kirby and the Forgotten Land on Switch. Open world Kirby. Kirby games, really? Do they ever really put a foot wrong? I don't think so. Of
a
those
safe
two,
pick.
Paris
It's a
and Mike,
safe
which
pick.
ones would you put your money on?
I'm leaning Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I would
am
go
too.
Suicide Squad over that.
Do you both feel confident about locking in Suicide Squad?
Yeah, they said
Based on that
2022.
Rocksteady pedigree?
Yeah. That I'm again faith in Rocksteady.
Let's lock it in.
Suicide
like
Squad.
that.
Is,
I like that, Gary.
I assume there won't be a Batmobile in this one, so we should be fine.
Oh, well, we did see car gameplay at some point in the trailer. Just letting you know on that one. But Arkham Knight still reviewed very, very well because that is
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. It's still
It was a great
reviewed well.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, except the
Stupid tank.
Batmobile.
Yeah, stupid tank.
so it's me up
Blessing.
next. I have two picks since I'm the last in the snake. I've already picked my first one, which is Bayonetta 3.
Nice.
Thanks for
That's coming
discussing with your team. No big
Great
deal.
pick. Great
That's
pick.
coming out 2022. At least they've said it's coming out
Is
2022.
it?
I mean, hey, we'll see. That game's been in development for a while, and also Bayonetta 2 reviewed extraordinarily well, and so I'm feeling very confident in that. For my next one, I'm thinking that second bullet point, but now that I'm here, I'm like nervous about it. But I think I'm
It's-
going to do it.
There's a
What are you
difference.
basing it on?
There's a
That's-
difference between an educated guess that could happen in like you already have Elden Ring and Bayonetta 3. You're looking
Yes.
pretty strong. There's a difference between then taking a Hail Mary home run here and what Tim did, which was just put down dreams, like games that weren't even any chance of happening.
And I think y'all have spread the dreams around really well. Where like Tim was taking all of the dream games last year, where it's like every team so far has like a fair share of dreams.
Blessing, coming into you from the party chat right now. Blessing, you are Forbes 30 under 30. Okay, you're the future class of video games. Don't listen to Greg Miller. Okay, you go by your dreams. You go by your big hopes. Blessing, go big.
I wasn't talking him out of it. I wasn't talking out of it.
I think I'm gonna go big. I think that just convinced me.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, yeah. Let me type it in. Let me make sure it's in here actually. Because
it's in there. It's in there.
Oh, it is in here. All right. Oh man, I'm gonna do it. I just clicked it. The Last of Us remake, 2022.
You're wild.
Let's make it happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been the rumor. Rumors were going a bit harder this week. As like the whole Days Gone and all this shit's been going on. They've been saying that the Last of Us remake is going to get announced later this year and maybe come out later this year. I think that was Jeff Grubb, right, Greg?
No. It was yesterday's Jeff Grubb rumor was for Star Wars, and the other rumor is from a freelancer for VGC and IGN. I forget his name right now. I apologize. Saying that yes, he had heard from multiple sources Last of Us remake was happening this year. He wasn't sure what that meant for Last of Us 2 and Factions, Director's Cut and Factions.
Well, there it is. It's back to Gary.
Real quick, Joe S in the live chat says, "Why draft it though, Blessing? There's no way the Xcast takes it, lol." Because this is entertainment, all right? This is us hanging out and being morons with each other. Have some fun. Get spicy, Gary. Pick something stupid. Don't pick any of my games.
I think Greg might have taken it, and I still do want to get first place out of the six of us.
There's a bit of working together and then a bit of, no, I still want to win too.
Are we allowing ports?
Ports are not part of it. No, that's a tag
allowed.
that is a tag that's not allowed.
Like God of War PC.
Well, that's exactly where I was going. Yeah,
I understand.
Okay. All right. So in that case, I don't know. Is there anything we talked about before and then kind of said, "Oh, let's go back to it"? Let me look at my list again. I mean, okay. So if Blessing's putting the Last of Us remaster on the table, can we come in with the GTA 5 remaster?
No, that's a remaster, not a remake.
What's the difference?
Remaster is taking a game and just making it look prettier. Remake is building it from the ground up.
So what are they doing with what are they doing with The Last of Us?
The rumor is going to be like from the ground up. It's going to be like a new. It's going to be The Last of Us, but it's going to be a brand new version.
All the mechanics of The Last of Us 2.
Well, I just started a rumor that's what GTA 5 is as well. So.
You can take it up with fantasycritic.games and get them to add that for you.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. You guys are going to keep moving the goalposts on me. That's fine. All right. Let me see here.
Yeah, I typed in Grand Theft Auto 5. It says, unavailable. Well, look, let me.
You can get GTA 6 if you want to get crazy.
Yeah, GTA 6 is on here.
Can you imagine?
Don't do that.
That's not going to happen. If I locked it in now and they announced it tomorrow for like fall 2022.
And remember, that's part of the game. Obviously, this goes on the whole time. So when stuff starts getting announced, it's always good to be like, "Oh shit."
I mean, again, looking at this list, and I'm going on the list that Blessing tweeted out a while back. After the first and second rounds, it feels like it drops off a cliff a little bit, and like now suddenly a lot of these don't feel like bankers. They're like, there's a little bit of risk attached to all of these. Mm-hmm. You know, sure, like Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I mean, these are second and third tier titles, right? None of these kind of feel like, oh yeah, let's lock that in.
I mean, this is the third round, Gary. So
yeah, I mean, and I'm just saying, it feels like a big gap between
the math is mathing.
Those first two rounds and now the third round.
You figure Borderlands 3 on PC on Metacritic is an 81, 91 on PS5, 78 on PS4. Not that I'm
one on PS5.
Again, how many people reviewed it? I think it's one of those where it started dropping off a bit.
Did anyone take Ragnarok yet? Somebody took that, right?
Yeah, we took it. We took it.
Remember, Gary, you could also look at the doc if you want to see anything over there that we have written down.
I mean, I've got a bunch of my own little tabs here open as I'm trying to kind of jog my own memory about what's coming. I'm looking at some Nintendo stuff right now.
Ooh, Gary, what are you looking at?
Wait, where's this doc?
It's the Reddit show.
Our Xcast on the show is right.
Oh, okay.
I'm also DMing you guys the link if you ever want to use the Fantasy Critic, because it has a watch list there that you can build. It has top ranked undrafted games as well. So like you don't have to sit there and rack your brain. You can always scroll through and be like, oh, I believe in that game.
What do we think about Pokemon Legends?
It's a big risk.
Oh man, I think that'd be a great pick for you, Gary.
I don't know what is the history of when, because this is a new one, right? This isn't like another like remake of like Shining Pearl or whatever. This is something new.
Yeah, it's basically it's what they're building as an open world Pokemon game, and so I will know when we actually have it in our hands like what the actual thing is. But it is taking place in the Sinnoh region. It is like people are comparing it to Breath of the Wild, even though I know people get mad at those comparisons. It's supposed to be an open world Pokemon game, basically. Is the thing.
Hold on a second. I'm pulling up another list that I want to look at because I feel like we're missing a big window here by not talking enough about indie titles.
Sure.
There you go, Gary.
There you
go.
There you go.
We got some indie titles in the run of show.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just kind of.
You're not feeling like Dying Light 2?
There's
Honestly,
actually
it's coming out soon.
There's actually a big game that's going to score high that we talked about already that you're missing. I don't want to say it because Greg will take it.
You don't know that.
If you say it and we like it, we can just take it now. You can throw a name.
Okay.
out.
Feeling like
And
that
I
kind
can
of
lock
pick,
it in as my choice if we like it.
then.
Gran Turismo 7.
All right,
Like
so
that.
okay, that got tossed around earlier. Definitely, I think we all agreed that wasn't a first round pick. But now that we're starting to slide down the ranks a little bit, let's take
Gary,
it.
we're coming hot off of Forza Horizon. I think you got to look over on the opposite side with PlayStation. They're going to elevate their racing game, and that is a storied franchise.
Yes,
I don't think that's a bad
but it's
pick
not.
for a
Let's
third
not
round.
forget that Forza, Gran Turismo and Forza Horizon don't match up. Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport match up, right? Which is the much more kind of grognardy, very serious. You didn't correctly inflate your tires, therefore you're going to have a bad time kind of driving game. I mean, I'm inclined to take it though, because I take Blessing's point that the kind of people that are reviewing this game are the driving game enthusiasts.
Yeah,
who are gonna appreciate-
GTPlanet.net's going to review it.
Yeah,
They're going to say
exactly.
they're going to give it 100, right? So you got to look at it that way.
Let's take it, because I don't have anything else that I feel really strongly about this round. Let's take it.
Okay.
Bless is a reminder. I think you got a draft for Gary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's my
Good
turn.
call.
No, it's me.
It's going to
After,
be
right?
Greg Miller. No, we got a
then
while.
Mike, then Paris, then
We're
you.
in the thick of it
Oh.
right
You said
now.
Gran
Coming
Turismo,
back.
right?
Yes, he did.
All right, locked in.
Locked it in. Okay, I'm refreshing my page. Draft. Here we
Oh,
go.
there's a game I actually really want to do, and now I can't remember the name of it. God damn it. I'm going to think of it, though.
Greg, what you thinking?
I'm thinking a lot of things. Thinking a lot of things out here, Bless, right now as I click around and look at what I have.
What's the
here.
next upcoming order? Because I want to take what I sent you, but I'd like us to just have what I
think
sent
you're gonna be
you.
fine with that. Yeah, because it's me, then
Okay.
Mike, then Paris, then you.
I'll bring
Alright.
up what I mentioned earlier. Nobody Saves the World. Seems like it's going to be a safe pick.
I drafted it last year, and then Drinkbox, being Drinkbox, delayed it on me. So it's like, all right, well, get out of my face. I can't sit there and believe you. I don't know what to do. And what I'd like to do is I'd like everybody to clear comms. And I'd like to talk to the one, the only, the CEO Junior, Barrett Courtney. Barrett, how are you?
What up?
Barrett.
I just want to let you know I'm playing both sides today. I'm just.
He is.
I know I can trust you, even though I know you'd give the same advice to, or you'd give advice to the Xcast, you give good advice to us.
Yeah.
Where I turn to you is this. Am I crazy to want to believe in the underdogs that are WB Montreal?
When Tim drafted it last year, I told, and he did it for me, and I remember I'm doing it for Barrett, and I told him, don't do that. Mainly because I knew
that.
Mainly because I knew there was no way it was actually going to come out last year. And then the big question is it coming out this year? We've gotten the 2022. They're still doubling down on 2022 for Suicide Squad, right? We haven't really gotten any. We got more a look at the vibes of Gotham Knights, but they didn't double down on 2022. And so that's my
That's your worry.
hesitancy there. And I think I don't think that needs to be a third round, honestly, because I think that is such a wild card of like that could review, especially with like them being very ambitious of like what that game's going to be, RPG inspired systems there, the optional co-op and stuff like that. I could see that easily reviewing in the low 70s. I could also see it being highest in the mid 80s. So that's my kind of overlook of and vibes of Gotham Knights right now.
My belief in it is that I still think it has a better shot of coming out this year than Suicide Squad.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because
like,
again,
Gary has Suicide Squad.
They were already named as a 2022. They were remember they got delayed.
True.
Suicide Squad I would see getting delayed as well. But then it's a question of
I also can see a possibility where somehow Gotham Knights gets delayed past Suicide Squad.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Fuck. That's a tough one. That's a tough one here.
See, I feel good about it if you picked it, because I do think it's punch for punch. I mean, Rocksteady has more prestige, I'd say, than WB Montreal, but I do think that Gotham Knights, in terms of what it is a bit more easier to digest than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because Suicide Squad is a 4-player co-op. Seems like it's going to be like I think they've avoided saying games as a service, but it seems like it's going to be kind of Borderlands-ish in terms of, oh yeah, it's just you kicking it with friends and doing missions. It's probably going to have like a lot of third-person shooter mechanics, that type of thing. Whereas Gotham Knights seems to be more closely aligned to a traditional Arkham game in terms of the combat and playing that game actually
and
is.
I also think it's just that WB Montreal, Batman Arkham Origins was good. It wasn't Rocksteady, and everybody shit on it for problems it had, but then also just because it wasn't. I feel like they want to step out of that shadow. Like, I feel like that's why this game's taking so long, why they've been so quiet about it, is that they wanted to fucking nail it. They know they need to nail it.
And we also don't have a mainline Arkham game to compare it to.
Yeah, and they also decidedly, exactly, Blessing, they decided to step out of the Arkhamverse. I think
I'm pulling the trigger. I believe in WB Montreal. I believe in Gotham Knights.
I believe in the Greg Miller that believes in Gotham Knights.
Thank you very much.
I believe in the Barrett that believes in the Greg Miller.
I believe.
We're going to stop doing this now.
Janet, do you believe in me?
I'm not going to go through this line of conversation.
Mike,
Mike, it's your
All
turn.
right, Greg, great pick right there. I'm having a fun toss-up right now, and I've been conferring with the Xcast team over here. But I have put my belief in Uncle Todd, and another team that I can believe in is Arcane. And of course, we know that we got a big one with Redfall coming out sometime this summer is when they projected it, and it is a tough one. We haven't seen much about it, but we do know some sparse details about it. The thing you got to believe in is Xbox trying to really push forth these first-party titles, and I know I've gone kind of Xbox heavy now with Starfield, but I will go with Redfall as my next pick right there. So I believe in you, Arcane. Let's do something awesome here.
I've selected it for you. Redfall was one of those ones I was considering. Half on the opposite side of it, like Redfall is the Arcane game that I'm most nervous about because it's different from what they've done before, where it's multiplayer. It seems like it's going to have like open environments, all that stuff. It seems very different from what they do, and it reminds me of how Ninja Theory did something like Bleeding Edge that came out and was just a thud, because this is not what we know Ninja Theory for, and like it had a hard time resonating with an audience. On the opposite side, because I love Arcane so much, it was the thing of, last year I picked No More Heroes 3 just because I didn't want to live in a world where No More Heroes got like not a good Metacritic. If that's the world, then I'll take the hit on the fantasy draft. For that reason, I was gonna pick Redfall, because if Redfall's not good, I'll take the hit. I don't want to live in that world where Redfall's not good. But that is a good pick. That is a good call. Love Arcane. Hope that game is incredible.
We go to my man PSILY for the next pick here in the third.
So I was looking at your list.
Thank you,
and you got some solid ones on there that they're not going to pick. So,
great.
I'm going to instead go this way and say Stalker 2.
Ooh, wow. Okay, a little NFT drama. They rolled it back. You still believe highly in Stalker 2?
Yeah, I mean the studio, the game coming off the first one, it's going to be a banger. It's going to score high. I have a lot of confidence in that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say Stalker 2. Let me draft it right now, and then we'll come back on the back end and we'll hit some of those other picks that you got on there.
That's a solid pick there, Paris. I think it's a fun one. It's going to be good. Let's go on down to Miss Janet Garcia. I'm excited to see what you pull out here.
All right. I think I'm going to go with what I was thinking of going with, if y'all are cool with that. The pick.
Oh, yeah, do you think?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. I am searching up now. I'm going with Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
Nice, Janet. Yes, I
I
like
reviewed
that.
really well last time
I did
around.
not
It's
think
only
you
going to
were
be the
gonna do
same
that.
or better. Yeah, that game's going to be like all they need to do is the same thing again,
Yep.
slightly different. I mean, if
Yep.
they innovate, that's awesome. But like they don't really even need to. That game still holds up. And as a bonus, I think more people will be reviewing it, especially from smaller sites this time around. Because a lot of folks were like, I don't know, Mario and Rabbids. And then when everyone heard it was good, everyone kind of started covering it more and paying more attention. This time around, I think everyone will be in on the ground floor, ready to say this game is awesome.
Yes.
That's a solid pick.
That's a great pick.
That was literally gonna be my next pick. You
I was,
got me.
yeah, I had, that's what I was talking about. I'm like, is someone gonna pick this? And they're like, no one's gonna pick this. I'm like, it's such a big release. And then Gary's like, I'm looking at these Nintendo games, and I'm like, look the other way. But yeah,
Well, Janet, guess what? You get to go back to back as we now start the fourth round. So we are halfway through our fantasy draft here. Thank you to everybody tuning in. This is going to be a good one here with round number 4, starting with Janet.
all right. This one's a little bit more debatable for me. I have another one I could pick that I threw out there to y'all. Blessing, I see your. Do you think that game's gonna be good though? Like, what do you think it's gonna review?
you know-
Do you want to just talk about it on the? Can we just say the name? I think it's not that.
Yeah,
Get
let's
out
say it. Let's
there.
say it.
Let's talk
A
about
Little
it.
Devil Inside, PlayStation Indie. You know, we've
Oh.
talked about the indies a little bit. I think that's a game that definitely had a lot of hype around it when it was first talked about. And I think a lot of folks, and we talk about this on PS I Love You, have been kind of mixed after seeing the gameplay. What are we thinking it's going to come in at review score-wise?
That's one that I think can go either way. I think it's one that's for sure gonna come out in 2022. At least I would think so, right? Anything can get
Yeah.
delayed. But the fact that that was the highlight of the previous state of play, and they closed that on saying 2022, and people have been waiting a little while for it. I think it makes sense that it comes out this year. In terms of quality, it's that thing of the game looks so good just in terms of art style, but then gameplay is the thing that I personally haven't like had anything that they've shown that's made me go, oh shit, can't wait to like get my hands on the controller and play this thing. It's a game that I like looking at so far more than like seeing exactly what it is. And so like I think the thing is it reminds me of something like a what was the game that Tim really loves that came out on Xbox Game Pass?
Artful Escape.
Yeah.
Ooh, but how did that review?
That should review pretty well.
It-
That should
yeah,
review
yeah,
pretty
I
well.
know that-
It got it would have gotten you 8 points on Fantasy Critic this last year.
And that's the thing is like I think it could be one of those, or it could come out and be a dud, like the game that you guys previewed on PS I Love You in August that you guys are both like, oh, this
Oh
is
my God,
boring.
Jet the Far Short.
Jet the Far Short. I think
I
it'd be
think
anywhere
about that
between those
game
two.
once a week, like that. Like I was on my run the other day and I was thinking about that game. Yeah, that. I mean, I don't think it'll be that crazy of a gap because I think because Jet the Far Shore, not to drag Jet the Far Shore again, but I think that was the idea was cool, but the execution wasn't there. I think they'll execute their idea. I just don't know if their idea is that interesting with Little Devil Inside. I'm also looking at my current list, like thinking of it in the context of what I have going on. I have Sifu, Cuphead, Mario plus Rabbids. I feel like it's pretty safe in terms of stuff that will come out. Like Mario plus Rabbids is probably the most risky one, and I still feel pretty confident about that. I think I want to go for something with a little bit more prestige. But actually, let me look at how this reviewed, because I don't actually know what the review score. I feel like it's not going to review crazy high, but I'm thinking about doing as a Zag, because I don't know if it'll come out. Splatoon 3 is slated for 2022. It's like more of like a low 80s kind of game, but I do think they get better with each iteration. But it is kind of like a niche thing where how many people are really paying attention to that space. It's like niche within Nintendo, which is like a weird spot. But what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I try to stray away from multiplayer stuff because I think multiplayer just tends to not review as strongly as like a good single player game. Just because like so many things can go wrong, like network and like
Right.
matchmaking, all this stuff. One I'll throw out there as well, and I'm just kind of scared to throw it out there. Next time, I won't throw it out there. I'll DM it.
Okay. All right. Well, while you're DMing for like other Nintendo stuff, are there like big? I'm thinking of like the big releases that haven't been discussed, or like haven't been taken up yet. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I feel like similarly to what was already said. Like I think that's gonna be in like that middle range. Like I think it'll gain some points, but I don't think I'd be surprised if you got more than 10 points off of a Kirby game. The one you sent, that's an interesting one.
It's one that I could.
That's another
see
one
these
you
guys
could bet a
picking,
buck on.
but-
Though you could bet a
I
buck
think
on as
so
soon as
too.
this
Yeah, that's
ends
the
and
other
pick it
thing.
up.
Yeah. Here's my question. Of like the big AAA releases, are there any that we should get? Like Dying Light 2, like is there any like
Dying Light
bigger
2
name
not
title?
yet.
No,
I don't think
not
yet.
yet.
I mean,
I'll say Dying Light 2. Forspoken comes to mind. That's
have
one
one on my
I heard the
list.
writer. I heard Gary Whitta wrote it, and woof, you can't trust that.
I have it on my list. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Oh, Greg mentioned one in the Slack.
That's one that
I have
hasn't
that
come
on
up.
my
In,
list too.
then
I
just
have that
do
on my
it.
list
It's
too. Should I
guaranteed
just-
points. It's a boring one, but it's a guaranteed points.
Okay. I feel all right. I feel like I have all the dry picks, but
I mean,
You get those
Dragon
dry
wins.
90s. You get those dry 85s. You'll be happy with it.
yeah. I mean, You're right. You're right. What if this is like the one bad version of this
Probably.
franchise? I know. You know what? Screw it. Like, why? Yeah. I'll go with it. Why not?
Damn
Why
it.
not? I'm gonna go Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga.
Nice pick. That's a great pick, Janet. And I respect that because I was going to pick that. So great job, Janet. I respect that because I was going to pick that.
All right, back to Paris.
I'm conflicted. I know what I want to pick, but then I'm looking at our list and I see it. See, Janet spooked me now because I'm thinking, no one's gonna pick these. But now I'm
We have
worried.
the same mind.
Mm-hmm. But actually, it's gonna come back around to me before you pick again. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna take a risk on this one, Mike.
Take the risk,
Gary.
Paris. Talk to me.
It is supposed to come out this year.
Yep.
And if it does come out this year, it's gonna be a 90+ game, especially after what we seen its cousin just did here a couple months ago.
Yep.
Forza Motorsport.
It's a great pick, Paris. It's a fun pick, especially when we use the word platform and what we just saw the team over at Playgrounds do. Now we turn our eyes to turn 10.
Yep.
And yes, it is a different style of racing game, but when you start to put it on the track right, then you really limit how big of a scope it has to be, and you can dial in the detail to the next degree. And having GT over with Gary, you secure, if this does land this year, another solid racing game.
Yeah.
that will score very high.
We've taken both big racers for 2022 and put them in our camp. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do that one.
That's a great pick right there. That turns to me. And now I'm going to be open and honest with this one, Paris, unless you want to quickly look inside No, I'll just be open and honest with this one. Paris Lily, and mainly Blessing, this is for you as the commish. Is Destiny 2, the Witch Queen, part of
It's an
this? Or is
expansion.
that
Gotta
not
be,
going
right?
to be part of
It's
this?
on there.
They can have
It's on there.
Cuphead. Why can't we
it's
have
part
that?
of it. It's part of it.
Okay, so Paris, I look to you
Yes.
as my Destiny
Yes.
guy. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Literally,
I was going to do it.
I was gonna pick. Look, I literally forgot. Like I was thinking about what I wanted next, and I'm like, oh, I should. And I just messaged on Slack. I'm like, actually, I should have gotten that. It'll get the same, if not probably more points than like the Lego one I picked up. I'm like, it's fine. No
My-
one's thinking about this game.
Yeah,
But
my
yeah,
hope
y'all
was
got
no
me.
one was going to say it, and I was going to make that my last pick. So grab it.
I like that one a lot.
Witch Queen is really Destiny 3. It's going to
Paris, what are you picking next? Because that's probably what I want to pick.
Yeah,
Just
let me
to
just tell you
save
right now.
time, you know.
Come in the
like-
Xcast talk with us, Janet. We'll share some with you. Yes, please, Blessing, if you could put me down for the next Destiny expansion would be awesome.
I got you. That one is the Witch Queen, correct?
Yeah, Witch Queen.
Thank you, Paris Lily.
A lot of dead space while I'm waiting for the computer to update.
Sorry,
Nick went
it turns out I was in the wrong thing. I was in
No,
the,
it's
I was in the
fine.
watch
I'm
list.
just letting you- It's mine. We can keep going too. I'm going to toss mine out.
What if Pokemon Legends is really good? I'm going to throw that out there.
It's an
just
open
for-
world Pokemon, right, Janet? What you're telling me
But
that's
people
not going to
are
get
I
ready.
made?
didn't watch those trailers.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
and
doesn't
then
run
like-
well in the trailers.
Oh, bless.
Bro,
Have you seen
the
the
game
one that
never
came
ran
out?
well. Like, it's still Pokemon.
Did you see the one that came out yesterday?
With Jennifer Lopez
No, the other one.
or
The-
Christina Aguilera.
The one that actually just like it's like a straight to Japan one. I don't think there's like an English version of it, and we watched it on the post show today, and it looks good, and it looks
want it to
looks
be
like
good.
it runs better than we've ever seen it before. So
I'm taking the easy points, and I've drafted Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, that expansion.
Oh, smart.
Okay,
Very
that's
smart.
solid. That's a
That
good
brings
pick.
us to
That's a
Gary.
good pick. You're gonna go save Coco.
Help Coco. Coco's in stories too.
Coco's
all right?
in
Don't
there.
go
I know, but we want you to
Let's
bring it
not
up. You gotta
cross
say
it over. Now, Gary, it's back to you.
I want to continue talking about Pokemon because I think there's something to it. If you think about it, Pokemon fans for the past, there's been plenty of Pokemon games that have come out in the past several years. But if really, in terms of like full fat, all new content, there's not been much. Like, Diamond and Pearl remakes, Pokemon Snap remakes, Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu. It's
Sword and
all
Shield.
been like,
Sword and Shield,
second tier stuff. Unless I'm missing something, this new Pokemon Legends game feels like, and it's like I said, open world, feels like the first like totally new big AAA Pokemon game that's come along in a while. And I don't know. I mean, people like Pokemon, right? Maybe there's something to this.
I mean, Sword and Shield came out in 2019. Like, I feel like the gap has been, they've had the same development cycle, and that's why they'll never make a game as good as what everyone keeps asking for, because I think their cycles are just too short. But I don't know. The reason I haven't picked it, honestly, like, I'm not even gonna like try to play mind games with it. I feel like anyone can pick it at any time. It's not a bad pick, but I think it's risky. I think it's definitely going to come in above a 70. I don't think that's up for debate, really. But my question is there a chance that it could be like fire, or are you better off like, what's the most likely game to get a higher than an 80? Like, in his Pokemon, one of those games. And honestly, I don't know anymore. The last one, which was a remake, comes in around like the mid 70s. Pokemon Sword and Shield is sitting like right at an 80, maybe like 81 or 2, maybe 3 on Open Critic. But I do think that there's a potential for the reviews on Arceus to be an overcorrection, where I think a lot of critically Sword and Shield did pretty well. And then I think it got like received more negatively by the general public. And now I'm wondering, have we gotten to the point of Pokemon criticism that people are ready to take more of a fine-tooth comb in the era of Monster Hunter, in the era of like Bravely Default, of seeing these other players take the space and show what a good type of this game can be, and then so much expectation. I wonder if that'll sort of weigh it down a bit. That's my concern.
Yeah,
with
I think the question is like, does Pokemon have the stuff, right? Because I think in terms of the previous Pokemon games that we've had and how they've reviewed, it has been the thing of, well, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl, we know what Diamond and Pearl are, and so like for these new games to be remakes of those, it's kind of a, well, what did you expect this to be? And then for Pokemon Sword and Shield, those are for the most part iterations on what Pokemon has been leading up to this point, where Pokemon Legends right now I think has the anticipation of, oh, this is something that's big and new, and it's something that
that's
is
what
going
I'm
to
saying.
refresh Pokemon.
Like just another like warmed over game that we've seen
Yeah.
already.
But I also think that then brings in more comparison, where Pokemon Legends is going to come out, and then people compare it to other like things like Janet said, right? You take it, you see what it is, and you compare it to something like Monster Hunter, or you compare it to other open world games, and then
That's the thing. Is
maybe
as
the
much
review
as
score
people
gets bogged
complain
down
about
into that.
Pokemon games just being, oh, this is just a remake of this or that. I also think that a lot of the Pokemon fan base, they just want more of the same. And so anytime you do something new, that does carry more of a risk. It's like, wait, I don't know what this is. This is something new. Why can't we just have like another remake of Black and White or something? I don't know.
I also do think critically it might be a good. It's like I think it's a safe bet.
Yeah.
I would
Well,
imagine it
the
does
other
like an
safe
80.
bet I want to talk about, and Janet brought it up earlier, is the Mario Rabbids sequel, because I'm looking at the original on Open Critic right
Well,
now.
that
It's
was already
85%
right?
top critics, 92%
Yeah, Janet
I think Janet
critics.
got that.
Janet's
Oh,
got
did you
it.
take it already?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, sorry. I thought you took something else. Maybe I was thinking about Splatoon.
Yeah, I
'Cause
didn't
that's
take
the-
I didn't take Splatoon,
Because
and that
that's
is
the other
I
way.
think, a
That's
good
the other
pick.
way I would go. Here's the thing: my kid loves Splatoon, and I know that she's not reviewing games or anything, but the Splatoon games are surprisingly very well liked. Again, here's Splatoon 2 on Open Critic, 83 average,
Yeah.
90% critics recommend. It's a pretty safe bet. And again, we're 3 or 4 rounds in. we're not necessarily talking about 95, percent games anymore. We've kind of taken most of those off the board. I think Splatoon 2 could be a good shout. I also have a very left field, like a little Annapurna indie that I think, again, if we're just going on review scores, those Annapurna games, critics love to love those games.
They're great games.
They love to love them.
So I'm actually thinking about coming in with a Memoir Blue, which is a really beautiful little, visual poem kind of thing. It's a little indie. I mean, just listen to this. A unique aesthetic combining hand-drawn and 3D art brings Miriam's magical realist journey to life as she swims into the depths of her memories. A series of gameplay vignettes blends sacrifice and heartbreak with victory and pride as she reconnects with her inner child and deepens the love she shares with her mother. If that isn't critic bait, I don't know what is.
Gary, you just read Indie Game of the Year for 2022.
I'm telling you, I think I'm gonna come out of left field and I'm gonna make a big push for a Memoir Blue. Annapurna, everything they put out is just critically beloved. So that's where I'm coming from.
I
like that.
There it is.
It's only a month away, so we know it's coming out this year. Should we lock it, Memoir Blue?
Yep, do it.
All right.
Let's do
I
it.
like that, Gary. I like the write-up of it.
It's been
I
locked.
like that.
That brings it to me. I'm gonna pick a game that I think is a safe bet in terms of critical reviews, but might be iffy in terms of release date. But it is rumored to come out in 2022, and that game is Hollow Knight Silksong.
Ah, yeah.
That game has a big push of fan base. People clamor for Hollow Knight Silksong in like a similar way, something like Cuphead, the DLC, right? Like people have been wanting this for a while, and it seemed like they've been working on it hard for a while. But then also Hollow Knight as a game, people talk about the game design, people talk about how good Hollow Knight is. People talk about how like it is one of the best Metroidvanias of the last decade, right? People stand this game, and so I feel like Silksong is a pretty safe bet. That brings it again back to me, and I'm gonna go for what I think is a safe bet in terms of release date, but less safe in terms of critical score, but one that I want to do well and I think does have the chance. I think is being a little bit underrated right now, and that is Saints Row.
Okay.
Saints Row.
I was thinking similar. Yep.
Saints Row is slated for, I believe they moved it to August, got delayed out of February because February is busy, and they said they got to work on the game more, but I'm sure it's also because it's just a busy time. But also it being a reboot, showing the way it has, where I got to do the hands-off preview last fall. I think the game looks really cool. I like what they're doing to it in terms of getting rid of the Saints Row tentpoles that in terms of characters and organizations and all this stuff, and building from the ground up, keeping in the humor, keeping in the open world freedom and destruction, and trying to go hard in terms of building Saints Row as something that feels more 2022 in terms of tone and in terms of open world gameplay. I think that if it hits, it's going to hit real well for people because people love Saints Row, and I think the biggest hindrance for Saints Row lately has just been that it's gotten samey. Even with Saints Row 4, the main thing they did there was give you superpowers, but for the most part, it was the same game as Saints Row 3. So I think when this game hits, and hopefully if it hits in 2022, it's going to hit pretty well. So those are my two picks.
All I'm going to say, Bless, is that I feel like Silksong has been rumored to come out this year for the last 3 years. So that's all I'm going to say. But I respect the confidence there.
I appreciate it. That brings us back to, I believe, Gary.
Oh, it's back to me again?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is your 5th pick, by the way, out of 6.
Second to last. Yeah, you got 2.
Hey, Winnie, you got 2 more picks.
Or 1 more, you know what I mean?
What?
I mean, again, it's like I definitely feel like we're starting to get to the bottom of the barrel here.
There's I like a couple of these in our doc that we got highlighted green over here. If you're looking at these, I like a couple of these, Gary. I think would fit the vibe well, score well, review well for you.
Hold on, let me look at that list again. Okay. Yeah, I don't. The problem is, I mean, I would be taking these entirely on faith because I'm not familiar with any of these titles. These are not ones that I know almost anything about. I kind of want to come back to Kirby. And I kind of feel like
that, Gary.
I mean, it's a big frontline AAA Switch Kirby open world.
Yeah, do it.
Title. At this point, if we're just thinking about being on the right side of 70, I think it's a very safe bet.
I like that. Nintendo. I like that.
Nintendo. First party.
You vibing with that, Gary? You want to lock it in?
I'm going to take Kirby.
Let's lock it in.
we go.
I feel good with that too, Gary. I like that. I like that poll. Mr. Greg Miller. This will be an exciting poll right here. I can't wait to see what you go with after Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Where are you going to go with this one?
Do you like that?
Yeah, I like that. I like this.
I'm waiting just for the easy thing here. Of once Gary's locked in.
Oh, I've locked him in.
Cool,
He's
thank you.
locked in.
All right. There's a lot of good stuff still on the table. Oh.
It's tough once we gotten this far.
Yeah, because now you're to the thing of like games can go any way you want them to. See, Janet, I've thought about that too, but is that a game that we think looks cool and then won't actually deliver? That's one of my concerns.
It's a game that
I got burned by a lot of those kind of smaller games last year.
It has like
the publisher.
I mean,
name.
like I was about to say, but then okay.
Yeah.
But,
That's the thing is like for that publisher, because we mentioned this publisher before, they
Yes.
had multiple games last year where I was like, this isn't a good game, and it got that
but
same
people
game
like it.
got good reviews multiple times. That
Exactly.
happened. Like 3 different
So-
times they released a game where I was like, this isn't good, and it
I
got
do
good
think
reviews.
though, if they don't get the movement down right, and anyone can say the actual name of the game if they think it's not a big deal, but like, I think that's the biggest risk, the movement, because I think this is going to sound kind of mean because we mentioned like games that we don't think are good that have still scored well. I think everyone can really acknowledge bad movement in a game,
Yeah.
and I'm worried that I think that's the biggest risk, but I think it'll be good. At the same time, I probably wouldn't pick that. I think I have other games that I would pick above it.
Yeah,
but
that's my thing is I have so many things already on my list that I'm like, ugh. But then it's like, where do you want to start?
I mean, I think it depends on this isn't, it's like all review score stuff. So it's like, I don't know.
Greg
I'm
Miller,
looking at
share
one.
with us. Share
I'm looking at
with
one
us.
that I kind of want to pick just for the meme, but I'll wait.
I'm
for
gonna
it.
instead do this. I'm gonna go from the heart, Snowbike Mike. All
Go
right.
from the heart, Greg.
I could
That's why I
probably pick
love
this
it.
up for $1 afterwards, but it's a game, the original that deserves some love, and it's a sequel coming out that we know is actually happening this spring. In 2018, a little mouse named Quill stole our heart.
I was thinking of that
Oh,
too.
you're a
Yeah.
genius.
Moss Book
Okay.
2 is coming out this spring. I
You're a
expect the
genius.
Polyarch to improve on everything they did, and it's such a great game with the original Moss. I think VR has already come so far that I'm locking in Moss Book 2 as my pick
Ooh.
here.
It does
Love
score.
that for you.
It's really high on Open Critic. I'm surprised how high it is. It's 86 on Open Critic. The first one.
Greg, I like that. I like
Thank
that, Greg.
I like you.
And you know what? I also like the rodents as well. I'm going to stick in the rodent family, Greg. If you remember
I
a
know
small
where you're
tale,
going.
a plague tale. some
Oh,
people
okay.
would call it.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
good
going to
one.
go with the
I was
plague
also-
that's a
tale.
good call.
Requiem, please. So
I was considering that.
you know, Asobo, we look at this, Focus Home, Interactive, or Entertainment. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that one on that. But that is one that, you know, had a nice little comeuppance. People really enjoyed that. Got the extra boost recently on Xbox as well. You think this is going to get a lot of face time and a lot of excitement going on, so I will go with that one and stick with that as well with you.
That brings us to Paris.
All right. So
I just know you're gonna pick what I want to pick. I just know it. I just know it.
So speaking of rodents, I am also going to go with a game that has a rodent in it, and he happens to be a master.
Ah,
And he has 4 students who
Yes.
he's trained very well.
Oh, I see where you're going. Okay.
They have a villain named Shredder who's out for revenge. So I'm going to go with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I love that.
Really good pick. Really good pick. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Why is it not?
Oh, I just
Wait.
did it for you. That's on me.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what?
Lucky is locked in as the captain now.
That brings us to Janet. Janet, these are going to
All
be
right.
your 2 final picks.
Oh
Back to back.
God. Okay, I'm going Pokemon Legends Arceus. I think.
Nice, Janet.
Somebody had
Because-
to take it.
Because I'm gonna be a believer, and also like I feel like even bad Pokemon games are still pretty good, both literally and critically. So like Pokemon Snap got an 80, and I thought that game was super boring. So I think this is gonna be pretty solid, but I
like
am
that.
concerned. So we'll see what happens.
I just picked that
Janet,
one for you.
really quick, before we
Okay.
go to your next pick, because we are getting into the final round now for everybody watching and listening out there. Of course, I want to kick it really quick to the Commissioner Blessing so he can give us a little better overview for everybody listening, watching, and us here on the panel of like, this is our final pick, but there's 10 spots, Blessing. What should I be thinking? What should I understand after
12.
we pick our final thing? Because there's more games we're going to pick up, correct? That's my question now. Or do we only
Yeah.
get 6 games? Please let me know.
So the 6 games are what we're drafting right now, but then over the year, what these remaining slots are throughout the year we can pick up games whenever we want. So if there's a game that you didn't get today that you want to get later, or if there's a game that is announced later during the year that you want to pick up, that is what the money is for. That is what the $100 in your pool is for. You can spend some of that money to secretly bid on a game, and then at the end of the week, the bids are tallied, and whoever had the highest bid will be able to pick up a game. So if Half-Life 3 is announced at E3, and I'm like, shit, I want to get Half-Life 3 on my team, I bid that day, and then on Saturday, if nobody bid higher than me, I then get Half-Life 3 on my team, and I can fill up basically the rest of the remaining slots for that. And so yeah, as your final pick, keep in mind like, hey, this is the last draft pick for now, but this goes on throughout the year. Then after this round, there is what we're gonna do called the counter picks. Which is the 7th round. And what that is basically you're going to pick, in the way that right now we're picking games that we think are going to score the highest, you're going to then pick the game from somebody else's list that you think is going to score the lowest. And whatever that scores, you're going to get negative points essentially. So if I pick, let's say, a Plague Tale Requiem from Mike's squad, right? And that scores, let's say, a 75, I get negative 5 points, right? Because that scored 5 points above a 70.
Gotcha.
But if it scored a 65, Bless would then get
Plus.
5 points.
Plus 5 points, yeah.
One
Sorry,
more.
Mike.
One more question as we go on. When will we be allowed to open up and add more games to our list? You say we can do it throughout the year, but when does that free agency waiver wire open up for us?
As soon as this is done, you can go in and start bidding on games and try to get them before other people. But of course,
Thank
you
you.
could run out of budget. You could, bid on things that are going to get delayed. You could, if you fill up all your spaces, you only have so many drops before if something else cool comes up.
Yeah.
Play the long game, not the quick game.
The best tip is is don't be a Tim Geddes who the day after we finished our draft went and drafted all the games, and then he ran out of budget, and at that point your thing is filled, so you can't play the long game of at E3 a bunch of games get announced that are going to come out in the fall that you're probably going to want to jump in, right? E3 is the hot time of the year for what this draft heats up, and so
Okay,
Let's do it. Let's finish this final round.
that brings us back to Janet.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure. I might do Splatoon 3, which I passed on before. But I just with Nintendo, when it's not already about to come out, I always wonder if it's actually going to come out because they delay things all the time. I don't think they have any concern about hitting any of those windows. So that's really my hesitancy there. I don't know if y'all have any strong feelings about anything above that. Any locks for... I mean, I think Splatoon... The thing is, will Splatoon 3 come out? Because I think when it comes out, it will be at least an 80. I'd be pretty surprised if it came in under an 80, frankly.
I think it's strong at this point. As Splatoon 2 did well, and I think them saying 2022, I tend to... I think there's a strong chance, right? I put that a 70% chance probably of it coming out.
I think so too. I think I'm gonna go with that. That's gonna be.
And with Breath of the Wild, I imagine Splatoon 3, if it hits like Splatoon 2, that'll be a summer game. Then Breath of the Wild theoretically is a fall game.
All right, I'm picking Splatoon 3. Do you want to punch it in or should I?
I can punch it in for you.
Okay, cool.
Gary, what is your next pick going to be?
I'm
Is it
going
Gary?
to pick
I thought it was
one. I'm going to pick one which I'm surprised
Oh, wait,
hasn't already
Harris,
been
I
taken.
apologize. I fucked up.
No, it's me. Yeah, it's me.
okay.
I think. Yeah, it's me. Oh wait.
No, it's
yeah.
you. It's Harris.
No, it is me. So mine is. I'm gonna take a little bit of leap of faith. It's a game that we saw at the Xbox Bethesda showcase last year. It's more of an indie title. It's a game called Replaced. It kind of looks like that future, and it's like almost like a side scrolly kind of thing. It looks good, and I'm gonna take some faith here that it's gonna score pretty well. So I'm gonna go with Replaced.
Nice, Paris. I like that pick a lot. I think that was a game that we all kind of went when we saw it. So that's a cool pick right there.
Mikey, what are you picking?
I feel like I should be like Paris and take a little leap of faith. I think we've brought up Nobody Saves the World a lot here with Drinkbox, and we've been talking about that. But then there's another game that I have on my list, and boys, I will have you both turn to your Google Doc that has been in my back pocket for a while, and I don't know which one I go over. I look at one which brings the fun And then I look at the other one and I think this one is going to bring a little more heart, a little more story. And I think people really vibe with that when we talk about indies. And so I wonder where you two stand. Or Bear, yeah, get in here, producer, my man.
Again, we got previews of the first game you brought up, right? And those previews were doing pretty good. I think that is a safe bet. That second game, I think it's still, like I said in the doc, I think it's too much of an unknown quantity. The presentation trailers look cool, but will it actually hit when it comes out?
You can say the name of it. Say Tunic. We know what you're talking about right now.
Well, we're talking about Nobody Saves the World in Somerville.
Oh, Nobody Saves the World.
Yeah, let's get out there. It's Nobody Save the World and Somerville. Okay, now we look at Somerville. This is a game that was made by the people that made all those games that we all know and love. What am I looking at
Limbo,
again?
Alive.
Exactly. And so this game is hot.
No, Inside.
Right?
Sorry,
hot. It looks very good. It hasn't been dated. They said 2022. The issue when you get into this is how well received is it? Will it review well? Nobody Saves the World is fun. When I look at that game, I think of fun, and that's what I usually like to go off of. Blessing.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Weren't there some departures from Playdead after Inside came out?
Jump Ship is the people actually developing Somerville, which is an indie studio that is founded around original IP by Chris Olsen, who was the co-founder of Playdead.
Gotcha.
So it's one of those situations too where it's like, okay, well,
who had the
how
stuff?
much of Chris's sauce, right?
Yeah,
and maybe you
the
only have the sauce together also. Now, I do think stylistically, I thought of that game. So I think that's
the style of the game looks very much like the next game from those guys, right?
Yes.
So I remember, Inside's one of my favorite games of all time, and Limbo's fantastic as well. I remember when they first showed that, whatever showcase that was in, that was that's my number one game from that showcase. And again, I think in terms of just critical response, it's very well placed to
100%.
do well.
Yeah.
I think I would go if you're thinking about those two. My vote would be for Somerville.
PSILY, you're my final person on the Xcast panel. Where do you fall on this?
I'm gonna go with Gary. I'm gonna say Somerville.
You're gonna lean towards Somerville. Okay, me. I almost lean with my guy Barrett because me and Barrett, I like that. I like that a lot. But I will listen to my two gaming dads. We will go with Somerville. It is a ways away, so I won't see points on the board right away. But I think when I look at that compared to Nobody Saves the World, I think it will review higher in the grand scheme of things. It will earn me more points.
I will close out with my last pick here, a game that I picked last year because they're two of my favorite games. I am once again picking Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. I love Advance Wars. I think that they look great, these remakes, and I hope that they deliver. It's a bit of, like you were talking about, a leap of faith because who knows, but if they can just be as good as if they can be half as good as they were on the DS or the Game Boy, Game Boy SP, that's what I'm going for. Now it's Gary.
So I'm going to go with one that I'm actually kind of surprised has not been taken yet, because I remember there was a fair bit of buzz when they first showed this, and it's another Annapurna title, which I think in terms of critical response is in the plus column, and I also think that critics people are just going to want to like a game about a cat.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go with Stray.
Yeah.
We went back and forth on Stray. That was one of the ones we were talking about.
It looks beautiful. I think reviewers want to reward originality, and it looks like it's got a very original concept. It looks like it potentially could be really, really cool. I've liked this game, the look of this game from the moment I saw it, and I think it is primed to review well. My final choice, I think, is going to be Stray.
Good pick, Gary. That's a good pick over here.
Blessing, your final pick of the PSILY XOXO versus Xcast Showdown Fantasy Draft.
I'm in a fun place because now I don't have to pick thinking about other people. I can just pick based on what I think is going to come out and also review the highest. And so I keep looking at Blessing Super Fun Game Release Calendar 2022, which you can access on twitter.com/BlessingJr. And I keep looking back at games like Ghostwire Tokyo, games like Forspoken, Arc Raiders, which was announced for 2022, I believe. There's a lot of places I can go. Metal Slug Tactics. I can speak out loud now. I don't have to hide anything. The
Shredders.
Shredders.
Don't you bring up Shredders. Don't you do that? You know that's for me. Don't you?
I'm
do
bringing up
that.
everything.
Don't you do
I'm bringing
that?
up everything, Mike. I'm bringing up everything. Callisto Protocol looks really cool, and that's supposed to come out this year, possibly. I
hope
don't
so.
believe it. I would hope so too, but I don't believe it. There's a fan favorite for me. She Dreams Elsewhere also. Man. Part of me wants to pick Sonic Frontiers just to be cheeky, just to be that guy.
That is what the live chat was saying. Like, if
I
both
like
of
the
them
meme
pick Sonic,
team. Always pick the memes. Bless. Dive into it. I like that.
I'm between two. I'm between Sonic Frontiers and another Annapurna game called Neon White that I'm really looking forward to.
Oh,
I think
the
Neon
card
White's gonna.
dating
You
game.
should go Neon White.
Yeah.
I feel
You
like
think
because
so?
Well, here's the thing. What's the last Sonic game that came out?
Do not compare to the last Sonic because Sonic games do not.
I was gonna say,
Well,
like, picking a Sonic game in this
isn't that
contest is
already
like
kind of
Russian
telling?
roulette.
But
Isn't that already
new
kind
one
of
though? And I say
What
this
was
every
the
single
last-
time.
The last good one. Give me the last good one.
The last
Sonic
good one.
Mania.
Yes.
Sonic Mania, but that's 2D Sonic. We can't count that.
Give me last
Sonic,
good 3D Sonic.
Let's say either Sonic Generations or Sonic Colors. One of
Let's go
those ones.
Sonic
I forget
Generation.
which one was previous.
Open
Colors, I
Critic.
think, was more recently.
Yeah,
also.
Colors
but I
was
think it
very recent.
Oof. Oh, Colors was like 74
Okay.
on, and then Generations. I actually can't. Is that the name of it? Because nothing
Sonic
came up.
Generations, yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean,
I could
that
not.
might
Like
be
you're
a
pull
going,
game
it
you're
that
going
came
back
out.
to like 2011, 2010
Yeah,
at that
I
point.
don't know if
Yeah.
Critic has that.
I'm
Look
gonna
up- look
say
up Sonic the Lost World.
I mean, honestly, I mean, you're just in pure chaos theory at this point, trying to guess whether or not a Sonic game is going to be any good.
Yeah, like I just don't.
You're right. You're
I
right.
think Sonic too, like because it's such a popular IP and the genre is so digestible. Like, no offense, like I love platformers, so like, but plenty of people know platformers, so anyone can review this. And I think with that,
You're
and
right.
it's like big enough that everyone will review it. What are the chances it's gonna bring the heat at like at a 7 or an 8?
I have
I think
my
if anything, you might
theories.
even be lower than that. But
I have
don't
my
know.
everything you've said is true, and I 100% agree, and that is why I'm not going to pick Sonic. But I also I have my theories about like this Sonic game actually being a better Sonic game based on like it being open world and the kind of things they've shown
looks
and said
better.
about it. It looks better. I think if they try to lean into the solar ash or the pathlessness of it, that can make for a very banger Sonic game. But you're 100% right in terms of like it's a popular IP, so many people are going to review it. That's going to bring down reviews. All these things. Neon White. Indie game. How many people are going to review it? It's Annapurna. It has that going for it, and it also looks really cool. It's one of the. It's like it's for those who don't know it, right? First person action game where you're essentially playing with cards and using different abilities based on your cards, and you're going for like the speed run of it, right? You're trying to finish levels as fast as possible. Looks really dope. Reminds me of something like Boomerang X that we got last year, which I know a lot of people loved. I'm locking in Neon White. I think it's gonna be dope as hell. That's my
Big
pick.
pick.
a good
That's a
pick.
good pick. That's a stylish pick. I like that one.
Should we run through the final drafts here before we do our counter picks?
I think that's a good call.
Okay.
I can run
Blessing,
through
your
it.
team number one. Lay it on us.
So as I add Neon White to my list, starting here, right, I am Rapstar Games. On my list is Elden Ring, Bayonetta 3, The Last of Us Remake, Hollow Knight Silksong, Saints Row, and Neon White. Over on Gary Whitta's list, Bozo Games, Gary has Horizon Forbidden West, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Gran Turismo 7, A Memoir Blue, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and Stray. Greg Miller and Sun Games has God of War Ragnarok, Triangle Strategy, Gotham Knights, Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak, Moss Book 2, and then Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. Snowbike Mike, aka EA Sports Big, has Starfield, Total War Warhammer 3, Redfall, Destiny 2 The Witch Queen, A Plague Tale Requiem in Somerville. Paris, aka Vicious and the 696 Games, has Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Weird West, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, Forza Motorsport for Xbox Series X, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and then Replaced. And then lastly, Janet, aka Boofy Games, has Sifu, Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course, Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, and Pokemon Legends Arceus, and Splatoon 3. That then brings us to it looks like Janet to give the first counter pick, which as a reminder, the counter pick is what you think is going to score the least.
Quick question.
Okay.
Now we're gonna make things interesting and make you counter pick against us to make it team based. Or are you still gonna go solo dolo? Because it is kind of funny. Xcast versus PS I Love You XOXO. So do we want to make things interesting and force you three to counter pick our games and we counter pick your games?
Well, my pick is definitely on their side, so
Okay.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
I'm down for that. That sounds
Yeah,
fun.
that sounds fun.
All right, sure, why not? None of this is real. We could do whatever we want. Okay, so I'm only looking then at Bozo Games. Let's see, EA Sports Big, and then 696. Okay. Well, not Breath of the Wild 2. So it's just process elimination style. I think maybe I'll like point out the weakest ones on each one, and then y'all can help me whittle it down from there. I think Paris's weakest game. Oh man, these are all like pretty good picks. I think the weakest thing probably on here might be TMNT. I don't know much about Replaced. Again, I think most people have pretty strong picks, so I think the weakest.
The lists are great this year. I think the lists are very strong. It's really hard to pick a bad one.
I throw out Stalker 2. I know the trailer for Stalker 2 looks dope as hell.
I don't know.
The NFT situation there rubbed me the wrong way
But
in terms of like, maybe they don't have it all together.
But they walked it back.
And like, how much is that really going to affect like the single player experience that people are playing through?
Yeah. Well, I'm not necessarily saying it's going to ruin the game, but I'm also saying like if they didn't have that together, what else don't they have together?
Right. They're like, oh, we're just doing some quick funding real fast before this comes out. I don't know. I have faith in Stalker 2. Maybe it's because it's like I'm in another league and I drafted it for my own. If we look at EA Sports Big, there's these are all pretty good. I feel like Redfall will either be really low or really high.
You can also think about what's least likely to actually come out this year as well.
Ooh,
that's another good way of looking at it.
That's like a scary dice roll.
That's a risk reward.
Yeah, like
I think here's the thing. I think for weakest game, I think a Memoir Blue has a chance to really flop, but I am afraid what if it ends up being a Florence and it comes in at like an 85?
Yeah.
That's my only fear with a Memoir Blue. But I feel like I remember seeing that, and I definitely am looking forward to it, but it also looks like the kind of game that, like I play a lot of like of those type of games, and I feel like when they don't hit, they're pretty middling. I think that has the best chance to not be that good, but I'm still afraid, so I don't know. Like, what if everyone's like, I cried when I went to the aquarium on the subway? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's going to go down, and then I'm going to be, like, stuck here in this weird situation. But I'm leaning on a Memoir Blue. What do y'all think before actually?
That was on my list. I have my 3 games picked of what I would pick, like how it goes, and that's on there. And I think for the exact reasons you're talking about. So I'd say pull the trigger on that.
All right. I'm going to pick that as my counter pick.
All right.
Les, can you do that, or do I need to?
Oh, I can do it for you, yeah.
Okay,
also, follow-up question. Can we all pick the same one, or does now Blessing and Greg have to pick a different one?
We have to pick a different one.
Okay, yeah. Nobody can be like, oh, we're all stacking up on a Memoir Blue or something.
No.
I believe that goes to Gary Whitta, or no,
Paris. I fucked them.
Paris, let's have an Xcast talk. Let's talk about their side then, since you're the leader here.
So I'd already been thinking about this, and I was going to go with Advance Wars.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Totally makes sense. It's a gamble.
Unless you're thinking something else. That's what I'm thinking.
So that was something I was leaning into. I think we should talk as a group right now, since we have the 3 of us and we won't have to do it each time. What other games do you notice out of their stack of 3, just so when me and Gary get to it, we don't have to rehab this conversation. Like, did a great job with that.
Yeah,
but I did lean towards Advanced Wars as well. I think another one I look at right now that we look at.
Blessing, I'm looking at Saints Row.
Yes, that's another one. I love Saints Row. I'm an OG guy, but these past couple of games have not been my favorite from them in that franchise. So I think that could be on the lower scale there. I think another one is Hollow Knight Silksong. Not because it's going to review poorly, it's if it releases. And if it does release, I'm going to get punished for it. But if it doesn't, you walk away and you score with that. You know what I mean? You got to enjoy that kind of flat 0 and no punishment there.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Janet, and I'm thinking Pokemon potentially, but I don't feel really good about that though.
Careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a coin toss, is right. Yeah. I could see that being mid 70s, and you get punished just a little bit, and then in my heart, I think Pokemon's gonna be Pokemon's gonna be my 80s plus. You know, what about Splatoon 3? What if that just doesn't come out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be the thing with that one with Nintendo. There's no guarantee that's coming out this year.
Skywalker Saga again, Lego. I mean, this is a game I saw before I was in the industry 3 years ago. I just don't know if it's going to come out, but I do agree with Barrett. That's going to punish you if it does, for sure. But yeah, Paris, I like. So your pick is going to be Advance Wars?
Yeah, I'm going to go Advance Wars.
I'll put him down for that.
Throw things out of like if it's not going to come out this year is like the chat throws out Last of Us Remake is a rumor right now. There's no guarantee that that's an actual game that's actually coming out.
Listen, we are helping these guys out a little bit too much, Barrett. All right, we
both
gotta let
of
them
y'all.
pick what
I
they're gonna
helped both
pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I helped both of y'all. Yeah.
I mean,
helping them out a lot.
that interesting because it does kick to me, right? And then as we go through it, I could definitely see Saints Row getting a 77, just middle of the road. We're just here again, and we're gonna skip that. Neon White, how weird does that get? And do people really flock to that one up on the top? And then Silk Song, do I want to take a punishment, you know? Greg, God of War Ragnarok technically is not dated, so maybe that gets pushed, but you got to think on Sony's side, they probably want to bank on that alongside Forbidden West as having a spring and fall release. So it's probably in the good idea that it will be dropped. And then after that, I mean, Janet's got some bangers. Like, does Sifu go that crazy? Like, could I go on Sifu and just get like a lower score and just get punished a little bit with like a couple of minus points? Or do I double down? I don't know. Paris, Gary, what do you guys think for my pick? Do you have any choices?
I mean, I kind of feel like the knives are going to be out for the new Saints Row.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
It's an interesting situation with Saints Row. Like, 3 and 4, I think were very well received, but they're games that were made in a different time. Times have changed. You've kind of seen how they've had to kind of change what Saints Row is. Like that new trailer, that new trailer left me cold, and I think it did a lot of people. And I think trying to reinvent Saints Row for 2022 is a very difficult balancing act that they have every chance of not pleasing people with. I feel like Saints Row is a good counter pick.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest with each other. Is Saints Row getting a 90 here?
No
shot.
No.
I mean, if it's a phenomenally well executed game, yeah. But I just kind of feel like the deck is stacked against it in terms of what it is, the pedigree, the kind of the times that it's releasing into. They've had to kind of reinvent it in a way that people did not seem excited about based on that trailer. I just don't know.
And then the one risky pick that our boy Greg Miller had was Gotham Knights. That one we don't truly know about yet. I mean, we know, but we don't have the date yet.
Right. No date.
All right. I'd love to live dangerously on this podcast and go wild, but I will pick my poison and I'll get slapped with a little bit of minus points with Saints Row and hope that it just scores in the mid 70s as hey, Saints Row is back, but it's whatever. So I'm going to go with Saints Row.
Locking in for you.
The subhead writes itself.
Yeah,
That
you know what I mean?
brings
Thank
Yeah,
you,
that's
Janet.
absolutely-
Thanks, Janet, for making me feel good on that one. Yep.
I
That
really
brings us
wanted to care, but I just didn't. And
I
anyway.
just didn't care as much as I
Saints
wanted
middle
to.
of the row, you know. I'm sorry.
All right. We're going a
Oh,
little bit too
man,
hard on
all right.
Saints Row here. All right, I'm excited for this game. That brings us to Greg
You better
Miller.
review it because you're going to need the review.
Greg,
Yeah. 100. 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
Greg
open
had
up
to
that
step
CMS
away.
Bless and just.
All right, you guys are going too hard. Let me get into Greg's. Greg had to step away because we're going long in the podcast. He had to go take care of the kid, and so he left it to me and Janet to pick what he's gonna pick.
That's great.
And he gave us 3 options, so me and Janet can decide. Right? He said
Sure.
Redfall, Weird West, and Memoir Blue. And you already picked Memoir Blue, and so that strikes that out. So Janet, between Redfall and Weird West,
I love how you take it personally, Paris.
Take it personal, Paris. That's messed up.
I mean,
That's
I
my
think
2022 Death's Door, by the way. So
Weird
go ahead.
West.
Go ahead.
I personally don't know anything about it. That doesn't mean that's not going to be fire.
I looked
so-
into it during my super fun games calendar stream just to check to see how the games look this year. It looks cool, but I don't know if it's going to set the world on fire. Is where I'm at.
I'm leaning on that then because even though I think Redfall, I think has a lot of potential to be bad, but it also could blow our mind and be like, the multiplayer genre has been reignited by Arcane's brilliant design. I'm a little worried it might be crazy high. While I think Weird West, even if it is liked, I'm not sure that's going to be do you think it has a chance of hitting crazy high marks from what you've seen? Obviously, it's all very speculative.
As an indie game, yeah. I think it falls in that same thing of there's not going to be as many people reviewing Weird West as there will be reviewing Redfall. And Weird West, the art style looks dope as hell. The game itself looks like it's going to be pretty solid, right? I think a great indie game is going to get excellent scores. And so I think with that, I probably do feel more comfortable going Redfall over Weird West, even though I'm going for Redfall in terms of I think that game's gonna be dope. I hope that game is dope.
Also, is there a
I think
chance
on
that
the
Redfall
Metacritic side,
doesn't come out, or do you think it's pretty locked?
I think it's pretty locked. They said summer, so even if it gets delayed, it's getting delayed to like winter.
You know what? Then so you're leaning on Redfall. Then I'm comfortable with that.
Hold on, let me
Like,
look
I think
up
that's
Weird West
fine.
release.
Because I just don't.
It's March 31st or something like that.
That's
Okay.
pretty soon.
Yeah,
Because it was going to be January and it got delayed.
Like, what if that's the new like Disco Elysium or something? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm. Just saying. Go ahead.
I mean, I
Pick
think the
it.
fact that I think I'd be okay with Redfall.
Yeah, I'm watching a
I think the
gameplay
fact-
trailer right now.
I think the
You know,
fact
actually,
that
what this
Greg
remi- what
had
did-
it
what
as
did
an
Ascent get?
option.
This reminds me of Ascent.
Oh, I hated
The
the
Ascent.
Ascent. But some people really loved it. Some people were like, this is the second coming of Christ. Like, this is what cyberpunk genre needed. Like, some people love the Ascent.
The Ascent, if it wasn't buggy, would have been great.
The Ascent is for PC it's 73, for Xbox it's 68. And Weird West, watching the trailer right now, reminds me a little bit of
Oh.
where the
Alright.
Ascent was at.
Okay.
I think here's the thing, which I don't know how much we care about, like, appearances or like regret and like how much we want to factor that in. I think if you pick Weird West and if that blows up in our face, I don't think we could have really seen that coming super directly, other than like maybe trusting Paris more. But I think if Redfall, I think Redfall has more of a chance of blowing up in your face.
I feel that.
So I don't know, but I do like
Let's
what
go
you're bringing
Weird
with.
West.
It's gonna have more scores. Okay,
Let's go
do that.
let's go Weird West.
Give him Weird West. Let's slap Greg in the mouth with something crazy. Let's just put him down. We all can agree he's off the panel right now. We can take him down a notch. Okay, it's gonna be all right.
Listen, as long
But
as
also
I get
now
number
I
one,
want to
that's
play
what I
Weird
care about.
West. Now it's on my radar, and then I'll let you know what I think.
That brings us to Gary Whitta.
Counterpick.
Counter pick, Gary. What you got?
Remind me what my options are. What's
Any
the list?
one of the three of them, any game off of their three. Of course, there's two we've already selected, but you have games that we could talk about, whether they review low, below 70 is really what you want. So you
The
get points,
one, the
or just
one,
a little bit close to 70.
the one that I felt the least good about when I heard it first mentioned, and Greg even seemed a little bit like, I don't know, was Gotham Knights.
It's a tough one. You have Suicide Squad on your list. Barrett is the Gotham DC expert here. He would be the one to turn to.
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do it, Paris?
I wouldn't.
It's
I wouldn't.
Again, when I was saying the same thing when Greg drafted it, right? Like that could be easily. I could see it in the low 70s. I could see it in the mid to high 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if it comes out this year. I think that game is all over the place of just like being able to predict if it comes and if it hits or not. So I personally wouldn't do that. I think there's more lower risk picks to go for before you go Gotham Knights.
I like Gotham Knights only because I think it might get pushed into spring next year. That would be my only positive on that.
Yeah, if you're going to say
I
it's
think
missing
people are gonna like
2022,
Yeah.
I'd say so. But as far as the game itself, I actually think it's going to score decent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that was the one that I kind of personally felt the least the least sure about. But if we're not going with that, did anyone take Pokemon in the end?
No.
Yes.
Somebody did.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Janet did.
Janet did.
Janet on Boofy.
Oh,
Game.
you mean you pick it? Yeah, yeah.
That's
she-
actually that's actually perfect because since she went after one of my picks. I feel like it's
okay. You
only
want to
fair
bring
that I
it back to
retaliate.
Janet?
Yo,
Okay.
if we're
okay.
what was your pick? It was what
Memoir
was it?
Blue.
The Memoir
Memoir
Blue.
Blue.
Memoir Blue v Pokemon. I feel like I'd rather play. I don't even know what the games aren't out. I think I'd lean on Pokemon more than Memoir Blue.
I
but
just
you can go
think.
ahead and
Well, here's the thing.
shoot your
The
shot.
thing is, there's so much expectation with Pokemon. Every Pokemon game kind of goes into a buzzsaw of this massive fan base and all of its expectations, and you never know what's going to come out. I would rather take a risk on a little Annapurna, whimsical indie critical darling that always seem to review well, versus a big swing Pokemon, let's reinvent what Pokemon is type game where just who the hell knows how people are going to react to that. We haven't seen that much of it. It is a big swing. It could go either way. I was the first. I originally brought it up going, oh, what about Pokemon? Because I do think it could go either way. But if I have to pick something, I do think that Pokemon could crash in terms of the critical response.
That is fair. I was hesitant
Yeah.
when I picked it. I'm not gonna lie. So
Okay.
I don't know.
That wasn't
I
picked till
think
the fifth round.
unless Mike and Paris feel strongly against it, then that would be
No, because I was thinking the same thing before I did Advance Wars. So yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
I like
I'll
that pick.
Okay, we'll take Pokemon as a counter pick.
Great pick.
It's been done.
And
That
then
brings it to
Bless
me.
to finish it.
This is difficult. This is really difficult because you guys got some good picks. I went ahead and watched the gameplay trailer for Stalker 2 again because it's been a little bit,
Mm.
and that game does look pretty good. It does look pretty good.
And the first one reviewed really well. Like if you're
Yeah,
thinking
it
of proof
did.
of concept,
But like, how long
If-
ago was the first one?
it wasn't. Was it that long ago?
I thought it was like I thought that was like an older game. Am I wrong? Stalker video game.
Oh, is it really that old? No way.
I thought it was like mid 2000s.
Is it? I'm seeing 2007 here. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
It does look cool. Like it's giving me Metro Exodus vibes, which I know may
Yep.
be wrong direction for franchise lineage. I don't really remember with the first Metro games, and I love that game. So that's why, and I personally picked it in a different draft. That's like not this one. But then, yeah, I don't know. I think for weak stuff that's left, honestly, I could see TMNT just being like 7
I
to
don't think so,
high
though.
7.
I think
Just
like
because
that
the old
game,
heads are going to be really excited about it. To beat 'em up. Like beat 'em ups don't
but
review that well.
it's also like the same folks as Streets of Rage 4. And
I'm
Streets
like,
of
what
Rage
did that
4
banger?
performed.
Fun
That was a
time.
banger.
I did like that. I mean, I like beat 'em ups. That has to get an 84, but I'm thinking of like, Scott Pilgrim versus the World is like sitting at a high 70. Even
Yeah.
like River City
But, like-
Girls is sitting at a high 70.
Yeah, I think,
but
I think
it's going to hit such nostalgia vibes. You know?
yeah, that's the big thing. Is I think it's gonna hit that nostalgia. Scott Pilgrim versus the World was more of a port from the PS3 game. This
But
is
it's also a very nostalgic game for like people of a certain age.
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, but like they didn't touch that game like in terms of gameplay or anything, right? It's the same game that released then.
Yeah, you're right.
Whereas this is a ground up new game.
Yeah.
I think it's really hitting that same thing that Streets of Rage 4 hit more than something like a Scott Pilgrim did, especially being from the same publisher.
Could so are you settled on what you're picking yet? Because I'm thinking
No,
could
I'm
a
still
Plague
looking
Tale
around.
Requiem be? I mean, I think that's like a pretty beloved franchise for the people that played it, but I feel like the last one didn't get like crazy fire reviews.
I thought it did. I can look it up because I think Plague Tale
It got
Innocence.
82 points on Open
82.
Critic.
82. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty high. I don't want to mess with that because yeah, Plague Tale. I think it being their second game too. I think it only is going to go up from here.
Yeah.
And Plague Tale Innocence was like nominated for like game awards and shit. And so I'm feeling nervous about that one. There is Redfall, which, man, it's hard for me to want to pick against Arcane. Is the main thing. Like Arcane is such a dope developer, and like they've proven that they have this stuff. So even though they're making this game where I'm like, this is different, and I can easily see this, slipping, it's just a scary thought trying to bet against Arcane.
Yeah.
What's on Witta's list? Gary has Horizon, Suicide Squad.
Like Stray. But I think it's gonna be good. Like a lot of these games are good, right? That's why everyone picked them. Like most of us went in for
Here's the
good
thing.
picks.
Because this pick that I'm thinking right now could fuck me in a major way. How much do we think Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League comes out this year?
I mean,
I don't know.
And
I would-
also,
I would-
if it does come out this year, how guaranteed is it to get a fantastic score? I know it's
I was
Rocksteady
looking
and they're
at that.
great,
I was looking at it, and
but it's a different game.
there's not a lot left on the table. And you know what, Kirby and the Forgotten Land though, it could be like a
Yeah, you're
mid
right.
70, which would I think you'll be penalized for whatever you pick at this point. But I think if you're trying to lower the risk of penalty, I think Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a pretty safe bet because I think the highest that game would get is an 83. I think that'd be like Kirby on its best day, which like Kirby's best day is still just like not,
Yeah,
it's not,
that's
it's
fair.
never like a 90,
I mean,
like
Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I will say, does look like Kirby in his best day. That game looks great.
does.
But I think you are right. I think that is a safer pick than something like Suicide Squad. So I think that's where I'm gonna go. I think
So
I'm
if
gonna
I
go
had
Kirby.
to play one of the games, I'd play the Kirby game over the Suicide Squad game. Like I don't know, but it's not just my review, right? It's like,
Yeah.
what do you think the general critic consensus will be on those two?
I think.
All right, I'm locking it in.
Yeah.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
All right.
And that completes our draft, everybody. Congratulations. We've
all right.
done it.
hey, great
All
job
right,
to
we did
all
it.
the panel out there. And of course, thank you to everybody that's tuned in and listened in. We've had a long episode. We got to get the heck out of here so I can let my two gaming dads get to dinner. As you saw, Greg Miller He's got a baby to go take care of. But we want to give a big thank you to the PS I Love You XOXO team, Janet, Blessing, and Greg for joining us and coming up with a really fun idea that we'll get to keep tabs on throughout the year. Of course, if you're watching over on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, leave a comment down below in the YouTube. Let us know what games did we miss, what games do you love, and what games were the bad picks, of course, out there. And most importantly, if you're listening over on PS I Love You XOXO or over on Kinda Funny Xcast, hey, go check out the other shows. These guys and gals are great on each and every one of the products that we put out here on Kinda Funny Games. And most importantly, don't forget that next week is our big Game of the Year discussion for Kinda Funny Games all around. So you'll see that on the Kinda Funny Games cast. And of course, next week, we want to hear from you, Xcast listeners, as me, Gary, and Paris will sit down and talk about our games of the year, some of the best Game Pass gems of the year. We're going to have a fun time looking back on 2022 while also looking forward, or 2021, looking forward to 2022. So with that, thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Welcome in to 2022. Kinda Funny Xcast is back alongside Kinda Funny Games. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.